All right, I'd like to open up our city council meeting for Monday, November 18th, 2024. I would ask that we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, remain standing for the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please prepare yourself in how you see fit to do our invocation. Most gracious and heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you this day to say thank you, Father. Thank you for all the blessings that you give us, oh Lord. Thank you for allowing us each and every breath that you allow us to take, oh Father God. Lord, we ask as we start this city council meeting that we do things decent and in order. Lord, we just ask for your protection and put their hedge of protection around each and every individual that is here, each and every individual in the city of North Chicago, those residents and our guests that come in. Lord, we just ask as we continue to move forward that you be in the midst of everything we do. This is my prayer in your darling son, Jesus' name and for his sake. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Could we do our roll call?
Alderman Jackson.
Present.
Alderman Coleman. Alderman Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen.
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Murphy.
Present.
Alderman January.
Present.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion. Well, we have our presentation, plaque presentation from the Northern Illinois Fire Sprinkler Advisory Board to the city of North Chicago for adopting the 2021 International Residential Code, NFPA 13D residential fire sprinkler in all new homes. At this time, I ask that we do a photo. So would you like to? All the aldermen that are here are present.
Want to do the photo first or the plaque?
Let's do the photo first, and then we'll do the plaque presentation. Oh, that's right, 1-3 in front. Okay.
Kathy's gonna sit here.
No. Let's go.
Oh.
Okay, I need his height. His height. Yeah, that's okay. Oh. Can you put the chair there? Next to him? And come around. Sir, can you take the seat and have a seat here? Could you have a seat here? Want me to sit? Please, can you come around this side here? These chairs are gonna come close together. There you go. So you're gonna be right there, sir. Great. You're gonna be on the edge here. And then, sir, can you stand right there?
Stand where?
Okay, we'll say that first.
Thank you. So, a gentleman here, of course, can you come around closer? Well, actually, Troy, you're a gentleman on that.
I don't want to hold that.
You're gonna come all the way up. And then you're gonna be right. Sir, can you sit up just a little bit? Sorry. Yeah. And then you're gonna come closer. Yeah, you're good. Right there, right there, right there. Okay. Perfect. Here we go, folks. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna do this again. 1, 2, 3. Keep smiling. Love it. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's add the 2 fire service members. So John.
We gonna put
Taylor,
our-
John and Joe.
Is we gonna put our elected clerk in the picture?
That's not my choice.
Oh, great.
Yeah, she's an elected official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't go in there.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Lori, come on.
Yeah, Lori, it's okay.
We tried.
Great.
Jump around to the other side.
Okay, even it out.
Okay. You're gonna come just behind her, right there. Perfect. When you come on this side, you wanna rest your hands. There you go. You're gonna come around this corner a little bit. There you go. You're gonna come out except for here. Here, there you go. Sheep on the side here. Jill, come around. And Taylor, actually Taylor maybe in the wall here. Try to turn your body this way a little bit. And then Joe. Yes. Come nice and close to her. There you go. Okay, ready folks. Oh, she can you that chair behind you with the cover on it? Yeah, that's absolutely.
And put the microphone down. in front of you.
There you go. Okay, here we go, folks. Looking good. Perfect. Great. Awesome. Big smiles. One more. 1, 2, 3. Great. And I'm just gonna have your back. Just make sure I can see the back end. You know what, Joe, come to the other side. Start you my other alternate, can you come to the other side?
Show later from this.
Then Taylor, I guess, controls here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they wanna be able to see
You're
that.
gonna come all the way over here. You're gonna come out just a little bit. Getting closer. Okay, here we go, folks, on 3, 1, 2, 3. I love it. Smiling, yes, we're happy. I love it. Big smiles. Last one, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good.
Don't give my, I said we said the others are,
Yeah.
city Christmas.
You want the presentation?
I will keep them out, so.
Don't worry.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Okay. You're going next.
Yeah. Well, they usually keep.
Pretend I'm not here.
Oh.
Do whatever you do.
Mayor, yeah, I just want to present this to you and the city council, plaque recognizing the city council for your decision. To protect all new homes with home fire sprinklers, per the international residential code. So thank you for keeping that in the codes and keeping your residents and firefighters safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. There you go.
I just want to say, yes, before you get a hand clap, I think that, the city of North Chicago, we did pass a resolution and ordinance that all homes now have to have sprinklers in them. And I know it was a vote that was somewhat, to some degree, controversial to the builders and, to some other, different organizations. But it's the safety. Bottom line is the safety of our residents that we have to really, look towards. And we felt that having sprinklers now, is that extra point. So when a fire does happen, and as our fire trucks are trying to get to that house, that fire could be already knocked down or put out. So, a life is something you can never get back. And if if you're able to do that by adding sprinklers, I think it's beneficial to our community. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. And I did want to say, to add to that, it's this council up here that voted for it. And it's their, it's through them that, this passed.
That's right.
Because it could have been, a different vote. But these aldermen stood fast and believed in what they were doing and the safety of the citizens of North Chicago. So these aldermen should be the ones that get the applause. They're the ones. All right, moving on. Omnibus vote agenda,
Mayor Rockingham,
Alderman Allen.
can we make a motion, I make a motion that we approve the omnibus vote agenda 5-1 through 5-7 as presented.
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Allen, second by Alderman Evans, that the omnibus vote agenda be passed as presented. Are there questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Jackson.
Aye.
Alderman Coleman, Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Murphy. Aye. Alderman January. No.
Motion carried. Public comment.
Charles A. January Junior. Yes.
sir.
No,
Uh,
no. Come on,
get to the
help,
mic.
help him there,
I'm just turning the microphone. for you.
I can see a little bit better.
Okay, good.
Okay, good evening, Alderman and the Mayor.
Evening.
I just heard something that was disturbing to me. I'm glad you guys passed this resolution and, with the fire sprinkler service. But as I stand up here, nothing's changed. And I'm just gonna tell you like this, less than 30% of our city has blueprints for our homes. So you put in a sprinkler system or a new sprinkler system, without the homes being blueprinted, a fire department don't know where to go. That doesn't make sense. That should have been a priority before this happened. Talk about saving lives. If our firemen don't know where to go in the building because there's no blueprints, what are we talking about? That's problematic. That's number one. I don't have enough time to stay up here and continue just this madness. I can't see very well now, but I can hear, and I've got citizens calling me and saying, January, we wish you should have stayed. We like your wife, but she don't know all the stuff you know. How are we paying a chief of staff $180,000 a year in this town? $86.53 an hour if you need to know the math. Average income in North Chicago is not $40,000. How do you all do that? Next thing, I'm going to talk a little bit about our water department. I don't know what's going on. We can pay $180,000 to something that we don't need. We have a water, which is our main source in North Chicago. We're not watching that. That's a shame. I was gonna go on, but I just want, I'll bring it next time because I don't want to get myself, I don't want to go back into bad health. But we need to make more sense with what's going on in this city. I'm not gonna complain all the time. But I wish I didn't have to come up here and complain at all. But you really need to think that $180,000 salary, because nobody up here is making $180,000 a year in this town. Thank you.
Next.
Miss Dora King, Mrs. Dora King.
Is she with Dr. Price? Well, you two together? And I know that Ms. King is over the school board and Dr. Price is our superintendent. So I think they were going to do a presentation. So I did want to give them a little extra time. So
Okay.
please go right ahead.
Thank you so much. I know you've seen us a lot and I know you've heard me a lot. But today and tonight, we want to just come before you, Mayor Rockingham, and to our city council, just to tell you thank you. As a resident of North Chicago, raising my children here and enjoying what we are seeing in the terms of growth, it's really been exciting. Together, we have partnered for 12 years. I know, Mayor, you've been our mayor since about 2005 or something, but for the past 12 years, I got to know you.
Yes.
And it has been a good partnership. Together, through our partnership over these years, we have worked together on behalf of the children of North Chicago to move from a state takeover to prepare now for an independent and elected school board. And I think all of us should really be proud of that work, because it was said when I first took this role that it would take 15 years, and we were able to do it in 12.
Excellent. Congratulations.
I am here tonight to represent our school boards and to support our superintendent, Dr. Price. As the mayor noted last week in his comments, we have come a very long way, but we still have much to do and our travel is still ongoing. We can say confidently now that we are on the right path, and we thank you for supporting us to get us that place.
Yes, indeed.
Dr. Price will be addressing the council on a more specific matter that was presented to us. But I just want to take this opportunity to invite all of you to our next school board meeting. 12 years ago it started, and now I want us to come back together in the District 187 building, in our office and our boardroom, as we did when we started. It was packed with the community. I was the first time ever seeing so many people, but that was the start of it. And I'd like for us to come back together again and kick it off where we're on our way now to becoming an elected school board. And that's going to be on December 17th at our December 17th board meeting, and I will get you all the information that you need. Mayor Rockingham, and to this council, you've been there for our kids, you've been there for us, and we would like to take the opportunity to recognize you for that. All of you. I was talking many times to Alderman Allen. I can remember when he came and sat at the board meetings and just watched us as we went through. So you've been a part of us, and we want to say thank you and all that you have done to support your children, to support your school district, to support public education in North Chicago. We thank you, and we want to recognize you for it. And now, Dr. Price.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. King. Thank you, Mayor Rockingham, City Council. It's a privilege to join you again this evening. I appreciate the warm welcome that you always
We
offer.
See a lot of each other.
That's right.
Yes.
I don't think we're done this week either, Mayor. On November 11th, the mayor called upon the school district to direct our attention to the lingering problem of vacant and idle school buildings in our community, left behind over the course of many years. The mayor followed with a letter addressed to me outlining his request for the boards to focus our attention on this matter. The school district has demolished one idle building, Lindbergh, but has three that remain. All of these three buildings, the unused portion of South School, Novak King School, and Hart School, are unused and unusable. To be clear, there is no feasible economical case for rehab. They cannot become useful again. Each year that they are left standing, they deteriorate further. The mayor's team, supported by the city council, has addressed and tackled the problem of blight in North Chicago. The city has worked for years to tear down abandoned and idle homes, including most recently the vacant home on the corner of Lewis and MLK, a boarded up building that I passed every day on my way to work. Your actions have resulted in improved quality of life, increased property values for our residents, and improved tax revenues for the school district. The mayor and his staff are to be commended as they have led these efforts, and the benefits are clear to see in our community. I'm here to respond to the mayor's request in the affirmative. Tomorrow evening at the board's meeting, the administrative team will take the first step towards the goal of demolishing these three school buildings and will present an initial demolition plan for all three of the school district's remaining idle and vacant properties.
Thank you.
As the ma-
Thank
Thank you. As the mayor noted, the boards have been outstanding financial stewards for these past 12 years. We have now the resources to complete this task. We believe, as you do, that eliminating blight is critical for a healthy community. And just as your economic development plans have supported our schools, we hope that our response over the coming months will support your efforts as well. I will return to the City Council to provide an update when we have a detailed timeline for the demolition of the properties and the next steps for those three properties in North Chicago. Thank you very much. Happy to answer any questions, Mayor, from you or the City Council.
Alderman January.
Thank you, Mayor. Dr. Price, thank you so much for coming in front of us today to confirm and affirm that you will be doing what you can to take care of those blighted buildings. We appreciate that. Second of all, I just have a quick question. I would like to have a little update on the Forstall School in Forstall Village as to, are we still on time or how things are going? I see stuff going on, but I
Yeah.
just want to make sure we're on time with
I'm
the
gonna,
school year.
I'm gonna knock on wood. We're actually 3 weeks ahead
All right.
of schedule. So that doesn't, of course, construction, so that may not stay that way, but as of my last site visit on Friday, we are ahead. We're digging foundations. We're about 75% done with the foundation work. There's been some, so we're remediating the soil and pouring foundations, and the week after Thanksgiving, you should start seeing steel. The team is planning on starting to erect the steel December 2nd. Once that steel is delivered, we'll have one beam that we're going to set aside. The construction team is going to paint it white for us, and we'll have a beam signing ceremony that you'll all be invited to participate in that. So you can sign the beam, and then that'll go up into the school as one of the last beams to go in. So that'll be scheduled. We're getting that ready. We're still waiting for the final fabrication and delivery schedule for the steel, but we're on schedule. We're within budget still. So we're proud of the progress. It's going well. Thanks for the question.
Thank you for that. And also just real quick, once the school is finished, will there be technology brought in to bring the students up to speed with technology and what we're using nowadays and for their education part as well?
Absolutely, but we don't need to wait for a new school building to do that. That's already the case
Yeah.
across the district. But
Okay,
absolutely, the Forstall School will have the most up-to-date technology that our students have for them to use every day in their schooling.
And I would take it that we have updated books as well for the students.
We do. We have a regular refreshment cycle, and a lot of those are now, some of those are online, are on the Chromebooks that every student has, but we do upgrade and refresh our libraries and our curriculum.
Okay, great to hear.
Thanks,
Thank you
Alderman.
so much.
Thank you. Alderman Smith and then Alderman Allen.
Thank you for that report about demolition for the building. My question is, would that be available for individuals to purchase to do X, Y, Z on it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Alderman Smith. And, over the years, there've been a number of groups that have approached the school district with that same question. So my honest answer is that the board is going to have to determine what the best use of those different properties will be. The school district is considering plans also tomorrow night for South School to rehab the northern wing of South School and to use that for school programming. So I think that property at South School will likely be off-street parking. Right now, the program there, they use street parking. If we're going to put a program there, we'd want to have off-street parking, playground space for that school, et cetera. So I think that property is spoken for. The Lindbergh property, we have a plan and are raising funds to build a preschool there so we could have universal pre-K for every 3 and 4-year-old in the city of North Chicago, free universal pre-K for every 3 and 4-year-old in North Chicago. So it's really Novak and Hart, those properties. The board will have to be considering plans for those properties once the buildings are demolished, but that's the first step.
And when you say the board, you're talking about the new school board that was putting in place?
Yes, well, we're talking about, we're going to continue to make progress with the current school board, and then when the new school board is sworn in, we'll continue to make progress as well. So this is going to be a multi-year process to determine the status of all those
But it
properties.
will be an option maybe, or is that Is that is that a possible option, or you just don't know right now, or?
I don't know. My board does require me to present all of the options.
Okay.
And weigh those options before I make a recommendation. So all those options will be on the table for sure.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
Alderman Allen?
Dr. Price, you know, I'm always about the dollar. Where those dollars coming from to demolish that? 'Cause that's big money. So where you, from the federal, state, or where it's coming from?
So about 60% of the school district's dollars come from the state. About 15%, 15 to 20%, depending upon the year, come from the federal government. And about the remaining 20% comes from local property tax dollars. So as I said, the school district has, and the school boards have been very good financial stewards. So we've lived within our means. You've read about some other school districts that are facing this, funding cliff with the pullback of federal dollars after the ESSER. That's not our situation. We were very careful. We didn't add a bunch of teaching positions that now we have to figure out how to pay for. We didn't do that with those funds. We invested in sustainable programs and in rehab for our buildings. So we've been able to gradually, slowly build up reserves for the school district. We've run a surplus budget for the last 8 years. And I will also have to say that the state and federal governments have really done a much better job. The Department of Education now pays impact aid on time. That did not happen 5 years ago. It certainly did not happen 10 years ago. It happens now. The Department of Education has caught up and is paying impact aid payments on time. So we're getting our full impact aid payment each year. And the same thing for the state. Since 2017, the state changed their funding model. It now holds every school district with a base funding minimum, and those payments come every month on time, incredibly reliable. It's incredibly reliable, which was not the case the first year of my superintendency or prior to that. Those payments were intermittent and unreliable. So I think the state and federal government has really done their jobs, and then the local school board also has done their job to be very careful.
Give me those percentages one more time. The state is how much?
60, 20, 20. So 60% state, 20% federal, 20% local,
Okay.
roughly.
That's taxpayer dollars. I just want to come, they
Sure.
can start hollering and people say, well, this is done, that's not done. The money got to come from somewhere. So
Well, and I think that's why the mayor's request really, I think, to the school board members and to me makes a lot of sense. We've been able to build up a healthy reserve. I announced that reserve here at the last time I was in front of you. So those are in portion, local property tax dollars. So it's wise and it's appropriate to reinvest those dollars here, of course, and take care of the problem that we've left behind with the closed school buildings.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Coleman?
First I'd like to address, President King. You did an excellent job with, what you had. And, thank you for making, the best efforts at our school district. And anyone can see the improvements in the structure and the infrastructure of our school district. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for all that you've done, all right, and all the sacrifices that you've had. Second, I would like to say, to follow up on that, I'm kind of familiar with the school district because I kind of spearheaded, but I would like to thank some other people. When this project started a long time ago, I was at the front lines, and it was me, Alderman Smith. Thank you. We have an elected school board. Alderman Charles January, Torrance Abrams, which isn't here, and myself. And they even dated a little bit before you. I'd like to thank all you guys for the difference that you made in helping us get our school district back. And second of all, I would like to I remember the time in which I called the alderman up and I says, hey, I need your help over here. And Alderman Bobby Allen, Alderman Carl Evans, Alderman Kathy January, Alderman Michael Jackson, and including the mayor, we all came together and we all sat down. And I'd just like to thank, it was a group effort to get our elected school board back. So I think as a council in general, and Mrs. Murphy, she wasn't on the school board at the time. I mean, she wasn't on the council at the time, but I'm sure she would help. But it was a group effort from all of our city leaders to help get this school district back. So I would like to thank all of all the leaders, including the mayor. Okay. With that being said, the second thing is we have an elected school board. That's positive. We have 3 seats that are up. We've got 4 candidates that filed. So we know that all 3 seats will be filled from the city of North Chicago after a total of 12 years. So that is something that we can all be proud of. So my question to you, Mr. Price, is since we know 3 out of the 4 candidates will be involved on the school board, are you going to reach out, and this is a multi-year project, are you going to reach out to the 4 candidates and have their input on, because they're our voice. The appointed board is great, but 3 of these 4 people are going to be our voice. And we would like, well, me personally, I would like to see you have them involved early. So as the process goes on, which is the April election, they're fully aware. So when they sit on the board, they can continue to work with the city council and asking questions like, Mr. Smith, are we going to give this property to the public? Or are we going to exchange with the city? But I think the new school board members, which should have an input, because 3 out of 4 of them are going to be there. Do you have any plans on reaching out and getting them involved now? So this unique transition, you can get them at the starting block?
So I think that process has already started, actually, Alderman. I've invited every candidate to meet with me to discuss what the school board's business is currently, how we do our business, how we prepare for agendas, the work that goes into preparing for a school board meeting. So that process has already started. And Mrs. King, who's been leading the school district's education efforts around this campaign, has scheduled another meeting for December 3rd as an educational opportunity, outreach opportunity, and all of the candidates will, of course, be invited to that opportunity. So I think that process is well underway to give every candidate that wishes to the opportunity to engage with me, with the school district. And of course, our meetings are open, our agendas are open, our packets are available. And so that information is there. We do the same thing you all do. We take public comment, engage with the public. And I would just state for the record, you don't have to be a school board member or a candidate to reach out and call me and have a conversation with me and to express what's important to you about what is or what is not happening in our community. So I'm open to those conversations from all of our community members, regardless of their state of candidacy. So I'm happy to engage with all of our community members, parents, residents, and we've already started that process with the candidates for sure.
Great. And I guess that's what I'm saying is these 3 people aren't residents. These are our next school board members. So I think the conversation that you will have with a resident in public would be different than the conversation that you would have with a future school board member. So that's what I'm asking. I know you have classes. I appreciate the classes. They're great classes. They're educational on general purposes. It's great. But what I'm asking specifically is with these abandoned buildings, because this is property that is on our forefront. Lewis Avenue and 14th Street, they're in the middle of our neighborhoods. So what we want to make sure is that we have a voice, not just you saying, hey, I'm giving the class, this is what we like to do. And I mean saying, hey, school board candidates, what's your opinion? What's your idea? What do you think our future direction should be with these buildings? I'm talking about a serious conversation, not an open meeting conversation. Are you planning on having those type of conversations with the school board members?
Alderman, let me just say, I think that by the time that school goes down, those school boards gonna be well in place and they will be well informed on the direction of what the District 187 will be going. Cause the elections in April, the buildings are still gonna be standing in April, so they will be involved.
Correct, Mr. Mayor. I know contractually, sometimes you can get in the contract before the new school board member sits in. And then when the new school board member sits in, they're already contractually obligated. And that's the question that I'm asking. Are we not going to be contractually obligated before the school board members come in? And I think that this is something that I can probably come in and discuss with you personally. I don't want to do it on the floor here. But I just want to give everybody a general idea. And Mr. Price, you've done a great job in your tenure that you've been here. Even though we haven't always agreed, you and Mrs. King, I can see the improvements at the school district. So I'd like to close my comments on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, Dr. King, Mrs. King, Dr. Price.
I'll have a Dr. King very soon.
Yeah, see, I'm getting there. I'm already prophesizing it. But thank you. Thank you for what you did. Thank you for moving forward on our letter. I look forward to continue working with you. If there is any opportunities for grant dollars, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to support that also. So
Great.
thank you so much.
And one other thing that you kept saying.
you come
people
to the
that live
mic?
in the community. I live in the.
Can you come to the
community.
mic?
Oh,
All of us live in the community that are concerned, just like all of us that came together 12 years ago were concerned. We're still going to do that. Dr. Price is an awesome superintendent, and he's a very smart superintendent. And I think that what we need to do is look to the future of what our school is going to be like. We've brought it a long way, and it's so well positioned now to be the best in Lake County. So we can take care of that.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Price. Thank you.
Brett Tewell? Did I get the last name right? Sort of.
It's pronounced tool, but that's okay. Mr. Mayor, members of the council.
Mhm.
I'm here today to advocate for a simple but important change to the parking ordinance 10-5-11, which reads in part, quote, parking restriction, sticker required. No person shall park a vehicle on any street for a period of time longer than 30 minutes between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. on any day, except permitted vehicles in areas with residential disabled parking signs and vehicles parking on the east side of the street on Hervey Avenue between 14th Street and 16th Street, end quote. I firmly believe this policy, while perhaps well-intentioned when it was enacted, no longer serves the public good. Rather, it imposes an undue burden on our residents and reduces the quality of life in our community, and it robs us of the legitimate use of the public thoroughfare that we as taxpayers help fund and maintain. Let me begin with the most important point. This ordinance no longer serves any clear or meaningful public purpose. When the ordinance was created, it may have been driven by concerns about garbage collection, snow removal, or the availability of parking for emergency vehicles. But in today's North Chicago, with its relatively small population and a manageable number of parked vehicles, those concerns are no longer significant enough to justify such a sweeping restriction. Other existing sections of the parking ordinance sufficiently cover pertinent areas of concern, such as crosswalks, intersections, fire hydrants, and there's no compelling evidence to suggest the restriction of overnight parking is necessary. Moreover, the ordinance creates an undue burden on our residents. We're a working class community, and for many of us, the $25 per night fine presents a significant financial hardship. There's insufficient signage to inform residents of the parking restriction. The exemptions and accommodations for overnight street parking are woefully insufficient. For example, a 2-block section of one street has sticker permitted parking that's simply unavailable anywhere else in the city. The overnight parking exemption list is only accessible online or presumably in person at the police station, but it only allows for 4 nights per month. Widespread enforcement of this ordinance would force hundreds, if not thousands of people to make inconvenient and costly arrangements. These are unnecessary expenses and burdens that could be avoided if the ordinance were simply repealed. The public thoroughfare should be available to us for the basic and fundamental purpose of parking near our homes. By limiting this access, the ordinance denies the citizenry ownership of public spaces that rightfully belong to all of us without clear justification or benefit for doing so. I understand the city has concerns, and I fully support reasonable measures such as enforcing parking regulations during peak hours or in areas that actually require special attention, like schools or busy commercial districts. But we should enforce existing restrictions that do not unduly penalize the majority of law-abiding residents who just want to park near their homes at night, and not subject taxpayers to unnecessary fines or the hassle of moving vehicles. In conclusion, I urge the City Council to carefully consider the impact of this ordinance on our community. Its repeal would give our residents greater freedom and flexibility in how they use the public space without compromising safety
Okay.
or the
Here.
wellness of the city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next.
Deborah Richards.
I'm back again. And I will be coming back. It's a principle. And I'm just saying that it just seems like it's almost like you're determined not to let me have a sign. When there has been absolutely, when the mayor and I talked, he says no one has ever been turned down. So I'm trying to find out, why am I being singled out? I've worked very hard in the community. I don't think there's a person anywhere in this city, Lake County, or anywhere here that know anything bad about me, that I've been nice to everyone anywhere, no respect of person. And we talked about the school board. I've been an intern office, and I've had tons of interns from the North Chicago School District that I have mentored over the years. I think about all of the different things that I have done, and yet all the people that I know, which I told them, do not come. You've made your statement, and I have thousands of people because I have a big base that's just waiting to see, why haven't they done this, Debbie? And I think my father's name should be on there with me. So I'm going to another level. I've done so much in this community to help so many people. And it's just a principle now. I could sit and say, I'm not going to come back. I'm going to wait. But you took me off the committee and you refused to put me back on. And I'm just like, why? It's just puzzling to me to stand up here at my age. I will be in a few days, the 25th, I will be 74. So what are we doing here? I see everybody. I'm looking more signs I'm seeing. And I'm just like, it's a principle now that you should just do what's right. This is about the people. And when we deal with the people, we think about we're citizens and you all are representing us. You can't have favorites. You can't do some people one way and the others another way. So I am going to quit before that beeper rings. Thank you for your time. And I hope that we will do us right and keep this old woman from coming up here every council meeting. Amen.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
Early birthday.
you.
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor,
autumn in January.
two things. First, going back to the gentleman that brought up about the ordinance and the parking. Could we please have that put on judicial committee for review and take a look at what the gentleman is requesting and just kind of follow through on it?
Yeah, talk to them.
And then second, if we could, if you could, Mr. Mayor, please speak to the issue of the signage for Mrs. Richards and why there's been such a delay in bringing it back to committee as we had requested back when we first were starting with all of this. And it's been a number of months now.
I'm not bringing that up at this time. Okay, thank you. Next.
Rion Edwards.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
I'm so sorry that Dr. Price and Ms. King has left. But I want to ask you Alderman something. Do y'all know how many students is actually in a classroom in District 187? Or do you guys know how much of the taxpayer dollars actually go to the district? Because if none of you guys know, you should know. Because as elected advocates of the people of this community, those are things you should know. Let me correct something, sir, Alderman Coleman, because you stated all these people that helped get that elected school board back. And Mr. Mayor, you're a witness. Myself, Mr. Billy Coleman, Mr. Vance Wide, Rita Mayfield, and Thomas Coleman, we took those petitions all around the city of North Chicago, and we actually got up at 5:30 a.m. and drove all the way down to Springfield, and we spoke to the State Board of Education. And we met with the deputy director of that board, and there was a plea. The district didn't want it back until 2027, and so they negotiated with us and gave us 3 members in 2025 and gave them another 4 appointed members. And then in 2027, we take our board back in its entirety with the exception of the finances. So I want to make that very clear to the community. And so going forward, Mr. Mayor, I would appreciate it. I respect you, but just because Ms. King got a title does not exempt her from following the rules of this council. Everybody that gets up here get 3 minutes. And if we're not prepared to give everybody else an extra time, I don't give a damn about a title. And that I say that in the most respectful way, because that's the problem with this community. We get these titles and we stand up here and we look at everybody else like they down here. Let's not forget where we come from, because before you had that title, you was just like us without a title. And although I also appreciate the essence of time, this omnibus agenda is starting to blow my mind back, because y'all are spending the people's money, which means y'all have an obligation and a duty to this community to explain to them exactly what you're passing, what that is, and what that look like. Again, y'all are elected advocates of this community, which means y'all speak for us, not y'all. And this is why I implore y'all to have these town halls with your residents in your ward so that you would know what they feel, because that man wouldn't have had to come up here to talk about a 20-year-old ass ordinance that you guys seems to have not picked up and looked at. That's what you get paid to do. Now, if you're not going to do the job, then step down and let somebody else do it. Because what I'm seeing when I come to these meetings is y'all don't even know half of the things that's going on in the city. So just 30 more seconds, sir. I'm imploring y'all, we are hurting. Those ordinances y'all have, they wasn't the same as they are now. And if you think only that amount of people stay in North Chicago, I expect y'all to get up off y'all backsides and get out here and see how many people in your city, because it's way more than what you got registered. Black folks don't do them old whatever they do.
There's another ordinance out.
Well, sir, you talk to him about.
I will, but
Please.
there's an ordinance that maybe you should go and see.
No, I don't have to go see, because that's an alderman, Mr. Evans. If you meet with your residents and hold a town hall, you would explain that to them. I'm not your resident, sir. I'm Mr. Coleman's resident.
Okay.
So have town halls and talk to your residents, and y'all wouldn't have to waste everybody else's time here trying to ask all of these questions and have conversations at a city council meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards.
Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor. Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
Mr.
Mayor.
Because right now, I don't want to hear nothing. I got business to take care of, and I'm on my way.
Mr. Mayor.
All right.
Y'all have
Thank-
an amazing day.
Thank you,
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Coleman.
Ray,
No,
well, if he doesn't want to listen, that's fine. Ray's 100% right. I did leave out some people to thank. Ray and his a group of people, Tommy Coleman and some other people, they went down to Springfield and they did sign a petition. I actually introduced the law to Rita and Mayfield, and she got a group of people together to go down to Springfield and advocate. And if there's anybody on Zoom watching the thousands of people that signed that petition, I'd like to thank you as well, because that was an important part as well. And Ray did lead that charge and getting those petitions signed. So I was in error for leaving him out. And the other residents, but I'd like to thank everybody that signed that petition.
thank you.
Mayor.
Anyone else?
Mayor,
Oh,
before
Alderman.
they talk,
Yes.
I just want to say one thing, and I don't want to mislead anyone.
we had someone that wanted a street sign, and that person didn't get the street sign. I'm not gonna say her name. And she does deserve a street sign, but she's over 80, excellent person. We're just not talking about it now. We're not ignoring the fact, because I know Miss Debbie Richards. If you choose to come up here every week, that's fine, but it's not necessary. See, I don't know what nobody told you, but it seemed like you've been told something about a street sign, because there's no way that you would continue to come unless someone promised you a street sign, because it's not something that people do. They don't come in up to the city council and continue to ask for a street sign. So I just want to help you out on that. It's your choice, but I'm just saying, it's your time.
And I'm gonna say, it's my choice to come
Okay.
because I feel I need to make my presence known so the whole community can know consistently how I am being the only young person I know of
You're not,
that
You're
may
not.
not have gotten a sign.
but you're not. I'm trying to tell you, you're not.
The only one that I know.
Let's take this offline, okay?
that
If
may
you
not
like
have
to.
gotten a sign
Mhm.
was, someone that probably didn't want a sign. Not because,
Oh.
because the mayor told me nobody have been turned down, and he was surprised that I did not get my sign approved.
Okay,
that
all right.
first
L-
night.
Let's take this offline. We still have other, people that has a right to speak, and we are, and we,
That
and,
mayor is
and you have a
supposed-
right to this.
And he never give me the sign.
You still have a right to
I
come, and
have
I,
a right
and,
to
and, and
come.
you're more than
So
all,
I
and you're
will be
always welcome to
Okay.
be here.
It's really a shame.
Thank
but
you.
I will be here.
All right.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
I came back because somebody told me that he said come back.
All right.
Thank you. Shame.
All right, all right.
Rousseau.
Carmesia Hawthorne.
Good evening,
Good
Mayor
evening.
Rockingham and the City Council and the constituents of North Chicago. I'm Commissioner Carmesia Hawthorne, and I come to you tonight to bring you good tidings. It's the holiday seasons, so it should be lots of joy, lots of cheer, and we all should be happy. So I'm coming to let you guys know that Falls Park is hosting a lot of wonderful events. This past week, we actually had a Friendsgiving for our seniors that they came out. It was very, very nice. Some of the seniors that's sitting here now, they did participate. We also had the Blues and R&B night, which was very wonderful, very, very wonderful. And also, finishing up, we had Mary's Trust that came and basically gave all new coats, boots, scarves, hand gloves, all type of, bottoms for children, for families and stuff. And so I don't think that we got quite the numbers that we really wanted to, because we haven't really hosted anything in such a long time. So I want to come because we got more events coming up and we know you guys want to know about it. So our first event is Christmas in the Wood, the holiday kickback comedy concert with a touch of magic. It's going to actually be held December 13th. At the Youth Center, formerly known as the Youth Center, the Community Center. Actually, if you need any type of information, please feel free to call the district. The next one we got is the Holiday Home Decoration Contest, Deck the Halls. Basically, it'll be Falls Park District residents. If they decorate their homes, we'll be going around judging. And basically, you call also to get registered for that, and they'll be giving out prizes for this particular event. Isn't that nice?
That's nice.
You get to decorate your house and then somebody get to give you a prize for it. Finally, Brunch with Santa, probably going to be one of my favorite. And friends, this event is held December 21st, 2024 at the Falls Park District. Again, we got the flyers. We're going to leave mine, as you guys can see, they're so pretty and lit up. That's so nice. And again, I'm gonna say the number for those of you that may not have Falls Park number. It's 847-689-7480. Again, if you have any concerns or anything, please call for information and we'll be gladly to take care of you guys during this holiday season. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hawthorne,
That's
and we
it,
appreciate that. Also, if you would, you know, you're always welcome to put those flyers out here at City Hall.
Mhm.
And, also, we have Ombre, you know, those different events, you know, I know it's Falls Park, but we are a community. Please give them there. We'll be more than happy to put them up on our website and our social media also.
Thank you.
Mr.
You're
Mayor.
more than welcome.
Just
Autumn
real
in
quick-
January.
Just real quick, could you email all of the aldermen here?
Mhm.
So that way if we do have, social platforms, we can certainly pass it on through our platforms as well. Cause it's very exciting. Thank you for sharing those.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share. It was definitely an honor.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Coleman.
I have to say, I agree with you, Mr. Mayor. When we have, other taxing bodies or other organizations within our city approach us and they try to fill city council on what's going on at the school district, I think that was appropriate, giving the school board some extra time. I see Carmesia is out of breath here. But I appreciate you coming up here, and I'm pretty sure the mayor would extend the same courtesy to you, so you don't have to get everything out in one breath.
Thank
But we do appreciate you coming and informing the council on what's going on at the Park District. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Stallworth, Satrice Stallworth.
Good evening, councilmen and women. Glad to be following up behind Carmesia because she did bring some joy, some happiness to the room. I was just following up on my request for that donation for Isira's Gift Foundation last week, as well as I would like to address, I'm so glad that Mr. Price, my boss, was in here tonight along with Ms. King, because y'all was just so excited about the school district and what's going on. And we got this $56 million school that's coming in your district, Alderman, January. You got the $44 million school that Miss Bonnie Mayfield was so happy about when it first went up. Come take a tour. Well, I'm glad y'all excited because guess what? Mrs. Stallworth has been employed with the school district for 6 years. Ms. Nunez, Marilla Nunez, who's the secretary over at Neal, I work with her hand in hand, and the social worker. They refer families to me, kids that are in need. Miss Ryan, Delinda Ryan over at Alexander, Mr. Jackson, which is in your ward. She refers the students to me, the families that are in need. Mr. Smith, you have Neal, Mr. Jackson, Alexander, you have Forrestal. Everybody is excited about the school district, but these children that we service are in need. Their families are referred by the social workers and the secretaries who are the gatekeepers. Lauren Perry over at Forrestal, you might want to go over and talk to them. You were asking about the curriculum. Wonderful Bridges program is what we use. They're all up to date, but these families are in need. And then just to give you a little insight, student yesterday was crying because he was hungry across the street at the school. This same student was hungry and the principal provided food for him, but that's a family that's in need. That's a family that's referred to the program that's not going to be able to make Christmas coats and toys for those kids. I come to you and I ask for these donations, not for myself, been a business owner and a homeowner in the district for 25 years. I come because I have a 501c3. There is a need and we provide it. You guys have $60,000 amongst you aldermen that you get to go through a year. You have not spent half of your budget in the last 2 years. Mr. Smith, you spent 110% last year. You spent, January, you spent about, what was this? Let me see, because I wrote it down. I have you guys down here. You spent 5%, $411. And then we have Mr. Jackson who spent 20%. Where's the rest of the money? It goes back in the pot, right? Ms. Stallworth I came in 22, I asked for $1,500. Y'all gave me $500. I'm thankful, to God be the glory. But come on, there's a need in the district. I work with these kids. I don't know what you guys think of me, what you feel, if it's personal, professional, whatever. But what I am doing is servicing the children in the community, and their parents put you in office. They're the ones that voted for you. And like I said, I dropped names. We got Miss Nunez across the street. We got Miss Ryan at Forrestal. We got Lauren Perry over at Forrestal. I'm sorry, that works with Principal Krantz. They can back what I'm saying. This is facts. I dropped names in case you want to check my character and my credibility. But I come here because I'm passionate about what I do. And I didn't come last year because I was kind of upset with the 500 donation that I got the year before. So find it in your heart to help the families that put you guys in office. And how do I get on the annual donation? Because I would love for y'all to donate to me every year. Because I do what I do because God gonna provide a way. Thank y'all. God bless. Keep the Christmas spirit, keep the joy, and run me my money, honey.
That's the way to do it, Shatrice.
David Hood.
That's the spirit.
Good evening, Council Mayor. Happy holidays. I'm gonna be real quick and brief. I wrote this down so I don't forget anything. It was brought to my attention that you and the council was entertaining the thought of outsourcing the water department. For whatever reason, I don't know. I know that Mr. January brought it up and he didn't want to go into it. But this is what was said. You say the workers are not adequately trained or not doing their job, but North Chicago has been known for having the best water distribution, so you can't say it's the workers. How could you think of even giving away our major resources? How? I don't know. You can shake your head, but it came across the table. Per the city worker contract, all positions must be posted. I'm saying this because there's supposed to be a position for a supervisor being created for a particular individual. And this individual will be given 5 years to get his A license when the average person is given 2 years to get their license. You already have 2 seasoned qualified workers down there with a license that are being overlooked. If this is true that you're finna outsource or do something with the water department, think for a minute. You're taking away jobs from voters and citizens from this community and outsourcing it. It's ridiculous. That's income and tax-paying income money. You're taking away from the community to give to people. Hear what I'm finna say. To give to people that are not from our community, that don't vote in our community, don't support or patronize our community. This is a total setback for economical growth in our community. How does this help or support the betterment of our community? And if you disagree with what I'm saying, you all know me. You can contact me and speak to me face to face. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Coleman.
I did hear the same things that Mr. Hood heard about privatizing the water department. I'm not gonna speak on that at this current time. But I will say that our water department is our pride and our joy. And we need to make sure that we keep that in-house at all times. Mr. Hood, you are 100% correct. That's all.
Well, since I won't direct it to Mr. Hood, I will direct it to you, Alderman Coleman. That is untrue. I don't know where you might have heard that from, but we are not outsourcing our water. We have never talked about outsourcing our water. Again, we have some of the blessed employees that we, throughout the city. We are making changes there, but outsourcing is not one of them.
I'm gonna repeat for the record what I said, Mr. Mayor.
All right, you can repeat it,
I
but I will
said,
address what I see.
no
And I
problem.
know.
No.
And you as an alderman can always come to any one of myself, my chief of staff, or down at our water department and ask those questions without hearing it from outside rumors to get the facts straight.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think you want me to open my mouth, but we
But-
gonna stop there. We gonna,
Okay.
hold on, wait, let me
All right.
repeat what I said, cause you don't want me to get to saying what I know. What I'm saying is, I heard the same thing that Mr. Hood heard, and I'm not going to comment on it. That's exactly what I said. I didn't say
Did you
any
hear it
other.
from any one of our departments, or did you hear it from employees? I mean, you gotta hear it from the departments, not just, I mean, anyone could throw that out there.
Do you really want to have this discussion?
It's on you.
Okay, some things you can't discuss that are in executive session. So legally, I couldn't discuss it, and you know that, if I felt that, okay? So what I'm not gonna do is break any more laws, because people like to send me a jail around here. So what I'm not gonna say is what we discuss in executive session. But what I will say is, I have heard from the community what David Hood has said, okay? And I also said private, I agree with David Hood that we should keep our water in our department. And that's all I said. Now, if you're guilty, I mean, I don't know why you're jumping on me. I'm not the only one that heard it. There's a few people that heard it. And in 2010, there was a report in the newspaper that I have a copy of where you originally tried to privatize the water department in 2010.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
So we're not going to make it seem like it's a far-fetched idea under your administration. Your administration has attempted to privatize the water department before, correct?
I agree to that. I
Okay.
have looked into it. And
Okay.
I will look into anything that I feel is best for the city of North Chicago and its residents. At that time, I felt that
No
it
need to
was.
holler.
At
No
that
need to
time,
holler.
I felt it was. But we have made changes in that department. That department is functioning well. And we will continue to move forward in that direction.
So you're
And we are not right now looking at privatizing.
so you're saying on record in front of all these aldermen
It's a
that we
record.
have a great water department and all our employees are great.
I have said that our department is functioning properly. If there needs to be changes, we will continue to make changes.
Oh, absolutely.
I will always make changes. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, if something is not functioning properly, I'm gonna let it sit. No, I will not let it sit. If I know employees that needs to be addressed, we will address those employees. Right now, our water department is functioning properly.
Absolutely, I agree. For the record, our water department is functioning properly. The question that I asked you, Mr. Mayor, was our employees and our staff. Do you feel that our staff and employees are doing a good job, like you said?
As you said, it is time we can take this offline, Alderman. Let's
Okay.
move forward.
All right, you got me to talking. I wasn't gonna say nothing.
No, you started it. Moving forward, was there anyone else?
No.
Thank you. Regular agenda, 7-1, consideration approval to ratify payment to Mount Sinai Baptist Church in amount not to exceed $230,000 for the purchase of land.
Mayor Rockham,
Alderman Evans,
I would like to approve to ratify payment to Mount Sinai Baptist Church in an amount not to exceed $230,000 for the purchase of land. Second.
removed by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Allen, that 7-1 be passed as presented. Alderman January.
Thank you, Mayor. Could you just kind of let the citizens that are here this evening know a little bit more information about this consideration and approval that we're looking at?
I'll be more than happy to.
Thank you.
This purchase is regards to the city of North Chicago speaking on water. We're in the process of looking to build a water tower. And that water tower will be built by Falls Park Golf Course. That Falls Park Golf Course land was donated to Falls Park through IDNR, the Illinois Department of Recreation. So the city of North Chicago cannot just outright purchase land that was donated through IDNR. In order for us to purchase that land, IDNR said that we have to swap land with the park district, and that land has to be contiguous with Falls Park. The land that Mount Sinai owns, actually Falls Park is utilizing it right now for their soccer fields. So the soccer field that your children are playing on from Falls Park is owned by Mount Sinai. We have been in negotiations with Mount Sinai for the past 2, almost 3 years, as we went to IDNR to try to get them to agree to do the land swap. We have finally now moved forward. IDNR said that we can go ahead and purchase the land and move forward with the purchase, and then we can do the land swap with IDNR. So we can start to move forward with putting a water tower in North Chicago. People ask, why a water tower? The tank that you see on Green Bay Road is not a water tower. It is what we call a bladder. It keeps pressure throughout the city of North Chicago. It makes sure that when you turn your faucet on, you get adequate pressure throughout North Chicago. North Chicago needs a water tower, so if something does go wrong at our water plant, which I hope never does, but we've had situations where we did, that water tower would supply water to the city of North Chicago probably for up to 2 to 3 days as we would correct anything that would go on. Plus, it does give us the opportunity as we go out to other communities to make sure that we could sell water to other communities if all possible. My hope is that JAWA, which is the Lake County Water Agency, at some point is going to be looking for water. North Chicago wants to be ready for the future. We can't look at what is going on for just today. We must look into the future. And if we put a water tower out there, JAWA comes, we will be ready to say we could supply water to them also. So again, this purchase, and I'll say this also, because it's now out in public. The original contract was allocated 3 years ago. The price of land has increased over these last 3 years considerably. We felt that the city of North Chicago, in negotiation with Mount Sinai, we felt that we were obligated to raise our price of what that land. We could have probably held steady the land that we negotiated, but we felt that they should have been raised for what the appraised value is now compared to what we are offering to them, which is 230,000, is much higher. But we wanted to feel that we were compensating them to our highest and fullest value.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mayor. Thank you, I appreciate that.
No problem.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Coleman.
All right. What happened was originally they came to us for $200,000. And we decided to give your church another $30,000. Okay. And we decided that makes $230,000. That's where the taxpayers' monies went. And I think that's what you were saying, right?
Also, if you're gonna get into the weeds about this, the appraisal was at 310,000. 310,000 is now what the appraisal price of that property is.
Okay, well,
And no, if you're gonna be right about it, let's be right.
That's right.
So we felt because the appraisal price has gone up, we negotiated, we spoke in executive session. We agreed that if we could negotiate a price to get them to agree to it, because they came to us and says, City of North Chicago, we want out the deal. It's taking too long. You're not moving forward. You're not, agreeing to it. Now that IDNR has okayed it, we did come through executive session, said that we would give up to 230,000, even though the appraisal is at 310,000. Alderman Coleman, go right ahead.
I'm not gonna talk about what we talked about in executive session.
It's out- I
because
mean,
we're not
it's
supposed to
already-
do that. But what I'm talking about is originally what was on the public agenda was 200, now it's 230. So if the people ask me, why is it $30,000 extra, I will say that we decided to do an extra $30,000 to your church. Is that not a true statement?
Well, unfortunately, Alderman, I have not attended that church for several years now. So when you say my church,
Oh, I'm sorry, not your church, your previous church, I'm sorry. I
might
got
have been, yes.
confused.
Please, let's get a record straight.
Okay. No, don't stop it, don't stop it, don't do that. People lying on me, people lying, I'm telling the truth, okay? Now, people can go back and look
All
and
right.
see that it's
Question on the
200.
motion. Any other questions? Roll call.
Uh,
Roll
Alderman
call.
Coleman,
I object the chair's decision, to cut me off.
Roll call on the motion.
Oh, why are you roll calling? Because there's a second? Is it
It's
forcing a
been
roll
motion and
call?
second, yes.
Does a motion force a roll call? Okay, so if there's a second, that's an automatic roll call.
There motion and there was a second. There has been debate and the mayor is calling the question.
Okay, but that's not the
If
question
Alderman
I'm
Coleman
asking.
does not wish to vote, then continue.
I'm asking a parliament question, sir.
Your question.
Point
is-
of parliament question.
Your questions be yea or
I
nay.
know, I have a
Okay.
point of parliament
Or
question. I need to
abstain.
understand, no, you can't rule on that. I have a parliament question. I can ask the parliamentarian any question
As chair-
pertaining to
as
the
chair,
rules.
At this point,
of-
you're not gonna be recognized, Alderman.
No, you cannot recognize me. I'm a sitting alderman. How can you feel you
But I'm
can't
here
recognize
to this
me?
meeting and you are not recognized. The
You
vote is-
cannot you don't have the authority. Can you tell them that? Okay.
First of all, we have not heard, and I'm sorry I'm not recognized, but I do want to step in for a moment. Knowing parliamentary procedures, the mayor has not said, called a question.
I have called a
So-
question.
No, you didn't. You went right to a vote, sir.
he called for the question.
Call the question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderman Coleman,
No.
Alderman Evans,
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January,
Aye.
Alderman Jackson.
Aye. Motion carried.
Now,
Se-
I have a
7-2.
parliament, Mr. Mayor, I have a
7-2.
parliament question.
7-2, approval of permit fees, reflecting, Midwest Veterans Closet not in amount not to exceed.
Mr. Mayor, I have a parliament question. Point of order, point of order. I have a parliament question.
There's a motion on the.
I have a parliament question which supersedes your motion. Attorney, please let him know my parliament question supersedes his motion. Attorney?
As chair, I am not recognized.
Oh, so now the attorney's not gonna answer the question. Does my point of parliament question, I have a question on procedure, supersede his motion?
I approve of.
Oh, that's what we gonna do. Point of order, 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 point of order,
Is there a second?
point of order,
It's been moved
point
by Alderman
of
Evans,
order.
second by Alderman Allen, that 7-2 be passed as presented. Before we do the, roll, Alderman Allen, you wanted to see a video?
Is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna, all you other aldermen are gonna sit here and let him disrespect my seat like that? Now, when he disrespect your seat like that, right, and he doesn't give you the proper way to talk, right? You're gonna be next, okay? We have parliament procedures that we have to follow up here, okay? If you let the mayor and you let the chair run this chair any way he wants to run it, and us aldermen sit around here and watch it. I have a parliament question, I asked the attorney an answer, and you aldermen are gonna sit up here and
Mr. Mayor, please hold the video. I have to agree with Alderman. We are to follow parliamentary procedures. Our lawyer, who we highly pay for to be at these meetings, needs to answer when an alderman is speaking to the lawyer. There is a parliamentary question on
And
the floor,
as chair,
and we need
and
to
as
have the lawyer
chair,
respond.
Okay.
I am the one who recognizes.
I motion to overrule the chairman's decision. Can I get a second to force a roll call? Second, can I get a roll call?
You are not.
Call a
chairing this
question. I'm over, Go ahead. Go ahead.
What do you
What,
think? You gonna be mayor now?
what?
Yes, I am.
Not happening here.
I'll do a lot better job than you.
Alderman Coleman,
Go ahead.
Alderman Coleman.
Yes.
You made a motion to overrule the decision. of the
No,
chair.
yes, I have a
What-
part.
Can I please ask a question?
Oh, yes, you can talk now. Go ahead.
What decision of the chair are you appealing?
I am to not acknowledge the second ward alderman for parliament question. Not to recognize the chair. I have a parliament question.
All right, so the motion on the floor is to overrule the decision of the chair not to recognize you for your parliamentary question.
Correct.
There's
I have a
motion-
question. I don't know what's going on and I can't make a decision without
I'm
knowing
trying
what's
to
going on.
address your motion.
No,
trying
relax,
to address your
relax.
motion.
Don't talk to me like that.
I'm trying
Relax.
to get your vote.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But don't talk
There's
to
a
me like
motion
that.
and a second on the floor to overrule the decision of the chair. That is a proper motion.
Thank you. Aye. Roll call, aye.
You don't get to call roll call.
Call the roll.
Oh,
I need clarity. So much going on here. I need clarity on what we're doing.
There is a motion on the floor and a second to overrule the decision of the chair. And the decision of the chair that's being appealed is to not recognize the second ward alderman's parliamentary question.
Alderman,
How can you put two motions on the floor? You already got a motion out there.
Proceeds the other if you know parliamentary
Seven,
procedure.
two.
That it is
Sorry.
correct.
Is it correct? Okay.
Thank you.
I'll address you later.
And I'll address you later too.
Somebody can address me and get a roll call. Aye.
okay, Alderman, who's on? Alderman Evans,
No.
Alderman Allen.
No.
Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Murphy. No. Alderman January,
Aye.
Alderman Jackson,
Aye.
Alderman Coleman.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Now, my parliament question that I had was, if you have a motion on the floor, right? And that motion is seconded, does that automatically force a roll call? Meaning if I motion something and then Alderman Smith seconds it, is that an automatic roll call and the chair doesn't even have to make that decision? Meaning he doesn't have to call the question because there's a motion and a second on the floor.
When there's a motion and a second, ordinarily that is followed by debate. And the chair can close debate and call the question.
But does that force a call to question?
It doesn't force when there's a motion and a second, you're either gonna have a motion to table, a motion to defer, a motion to refer to committee, or you can have, or a motion to call the question, or the chair can just call the question. All those things are possible.
Okay, can the chair say, no, I don't want to call the question if you have a second?
If there's a motion and a second, then ordinarily that is followed by a vote after debate is closed.
Ordinarily, or,
Yes.
or
I mean,
is that
it's-
parliament procedure?
When there's a motion and a second, if there aren't one of the other motions I described, it's ordinarily followed by a vote.
It's ordinary followed by a vote with a second. Thank you.
Alderman Smith,
What happens if?
turn your mic on.
What happens if any of those other things take place?
A motion to table, a motion to refer to committee can take precedence over the second, and it would stop the vote on the action, and it would refer it to the committee or lay the question on the table.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, attorney.
But wouldn't that still have to come for a vote?
Of course,
Yeah,
yes.
you still have to vote on whether it's tabled, whether it's
Correct.
moved back into committee, you still have to vote on it.
That's right.
Okay,
All right.
thank you,
There
thank
would-
you,
There would have to be a vote taken on whatever motion was made.
thank you.
Got it.
I understand the procedure now. Thank you.
There is a motion and a second on 7-2. Can we do the video? Do we need another motion or a second?
It's moved by Alderman
Evans,
Evans,
second by Alderman Allen.
Thank you, Laura. I just wanted to we was talking about giving, the Veterans Closet, relief on that $4,800 for their permits. When I was down in Tampa, they had that video and we're a military town. We went to a military, class. I just wanted people to see why we're doing this for the veterans and why these people fought for our country. We're a military town. And if we can't support our own military, they're still fighting for our country today. They lost their life, lost their leg, brain damage. It was just so impressive to me. I just wanted everybody to see before we vote on something and why I chose to bring this here and why I wanted to vote to help. And they building a Veterans Closet right on Green Bay Road, that's across the street from the cemetery there. And I just want to be a part of that. We all should be a part of that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Before, Alderman, Allen, as he spoke, we did have a session, at our National League of Cities. It's called Military Communities. And during that session, this, video was run and the building permits were waived for that house that was put up. So I know that was one of the reasons Alderman Allen wanted to bring that here. And again, we know that, North Chicago being a, military community, that small part that we could play in regards to this. Like we said, we're not trying to waive fees for every home, every building they put up. We are looking to at least give them that extra push to put that first building up that we all see as we drive down Green Bay Road where, Bombers Flowers used to be at is now going to be home to the, Midwest Veterans Closet.
Right.
So, Alderman January.
Yes, I just wanted to say to Alderman Allen, thank you for bringing forth this video
Right.
to show regarding this particular item that we're getting ready to vote on.
Mhm.
I really appreciate it because we are a military community and have been for so long, and it's not going to change in the
Okay.
future, so I definitely agree with what the mayor has said as well. That this is not something we would ordinarily do for everyone, but we need to take care of our military, our veterans here in North Chicago.
Thank you.
So, Thank you.
Anyone else?
We got no military guys in here today, do we? Of course we got a military guy.
We might have one or two. We might have one or two.
Okay, okay, I just thought I
All
was.
right, all right.
You know, I was just messing with you.
Alderman,
Aye.
Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January,
Aye.
Alderman Jackson,
Aye.
Alderman Coleman, Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
7-3, city bills.
Mayor Rockingham,
Alderman Allen.
can I make a motion to approve the city bills and the special bill run that includes the $44,244 for the payment to the PMA? And that total amount is $1,832,708.94 when funds come available. Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Allen, second by Alderman Evans, that the city bills be paid as presented. Are there questions on the bill? Alderman January.
Thank you, Mayor. Is Tawanda available?
Wanda is not here today.
She's online.
Hmm?
Her and
Oh.
family.
Hey.
There they are.
There you are.
Hello, council. Hi, Alderman.
Hi. All right, my usual questions. Ready?
Yes,
First
I'm
one.
ready.
All right, first one. Do we have sufficient funds to cover the bill run? And when will those checks be cut and sent?
There are sufficient funds in the bank account to cover the bill run. The checks will be cut tomorrow and mailed out on Wednesday.
Okay, and then my second question, what is in the water fund at the end of, I believe, Thursday, business day?
That is correct. As of Thursday, the amount in the water fund was $4,710,834.09.
Okay, thank you, and that's the liquid, correct?
That is the liquid amount. That is correct.
Okay, and then, Mr. Treasurer?
Yes, can you hear me, Alderman?
Yes, yes.
The illiquid is $1,510,902.48.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
More than welcome. Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January,
No.
Alderman Jackson,
Aye.
Alderman Coleman, Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Motion carried. Miscellaneous business, anything under miscellaneous?
Mayor Rockingham.
Alderman Evans.
The Third Ward will have this annual Christmas celebration on December 14th. For those that would like to come out, come out. It will be held at the Community Center, December 14th from 1 to 5. So please come out, bring your kids and everything. And we do have a Christmas, the usual Christmas dress contest and things like that. And I don't know if you guys could remember, I did tell you guys that these next 4 months is gonna be like comedy. I told you that from the beginning. I said, this is the time of the season where people is running for elected seats. In return, there's gonna be some changes up here. There's gonna be some major changes. There's gonna be some good changes. And it might be for the better of this city. Because everybody that's up here is not for the city. So don't believe just because people got elected up here that they're for the city or they're doing the right thing. Things change from this period to all the way to April, I'm gonna say. All the way from here to April, things you will see. But one thing I want you guys to know that you were told about is that about the council meeting with the agendas on the council meeting. We have a committee meeting that we bring up, that we talk about things on that committee. So any questions that people may have, we discussed that committee prior to this council meeting. So for those that read the committee meetings or stay for the committee meetings, because everybody don't stay for the committee meetings. For those that stay, now I'm telling you, that's part of our duties. Our duties is to be here for the council and the committee meeting. So if you don't stay for the committee, how are you gonna know about the council? And like I said before, if you need to talk to any of the department heads, if you need to talk to the mayor, if you need to talk to me or any of the aldermen, I hope they all answer their phone. I do answer mine. But I do know that that is open. Chief of Staff is here. The other employees, they are here. So there's no excuse to listen to what's going on in the street. I said, don't listen to those rumors. There was a big rumor that just came up here and started talking. I ain't gonna go into it, but it was just a bunch of lies. When you hear people sitting there telling these lies about our city, it makes you think, what is they looking for? I know everybody ain't gonna agree with who's sitting up in here. The mayor, for instance. I know everybody may not want him to be the mayor, but there's also a lot of people that want him to be the mayor. But don't sit up here and lie on the man and write it in his face. And you know you're lying. That don't even make any sense. I wouldn't do it.
He got the floor.
I would not
I'll
do
let
it.
you speak. I'll let you speak.
And I'm happy about our city. Trust me. Ms. Stallworth, I'm happy with you. You're doing something great for our city. We're gonna support you. We are here to support our city. We gotta help as everybody in this city is not going, everybody that works here, they not gonna live in the city. Let's be reality. I mean, just keep it real. So all this imagination about what we could do, what we can't do, let it fly, because you know what? We can't stop nobody's imagination from happening. If they believe it, let them believe it. Because they got some rumors out here about me. But I'm gonna straighten it out. Trust me. I'm gonna straighten it out. And you guys remember, all these rumors, they don't just come from the street, they come from within. But it's okay, because it's all how you handle things. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman.
Mi-
I think Alderman January, then Alderman Coleman. Was it you? Okay, Alderman Coleman?
Mr. Mayor, I am glad we are addressing lies on the floor and people lying on people. Now, I done spent the night in jail about a lie that I done broke into a water department. I ain't never broke into no water department, I swear to God, in my life, right? But when it's come time to lying on me, or somebody lying on me about a water department, breaking into the water department, oh, we ain't got no comment, oh, we ain't got nothing. But when somebody might think that I'm not telling 100% of the truth, we got a whole grandstand. But can we grandstand on some of the lies that have been told on me? And that is the surprising part to me. But with that being said, right, I'm done with the lies, right? And I'm sorry if I'm not in a good mood, okay? I was arrested, spent the night in jail, all right? So I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I don't want nobody to tap me on the shoulder and tell me to calm down, okay? I went to jail for a lie, right? No. You wasn't talking to me a few minutes ago. Don't talk to me now. And you have not addressed the chair to get the floor. You're not an alderman. Address the chair.
I want to advise you of your rights that you are.
I know my rights. You need to address the chair first,
He
proper.
did address me.
Okay, well, did you tell him not to talk because I was talking?
He tried to advise you of your rights. If you don't want to listen to him, go right ahead. Continue
Go ahead.
on. Continue on.
No, go ahead. I'm not hard headed. Go ahead.
Anything you say during a public meeting is admissible. So I just want to advise you of that.
Okay, I missed this. They lying on me. I missed that. Okay, is that on record? You lied on me. You're lying on me. Okay. Now, what I would like to do second is I would like to motion to committee the attorney fees under the Judiciary Committee under December the 2nd. And I would like to motion that to discuss attorney fees. Can I get a second?
Second.
We're moving to discuss on committee. Can I get a roll call? Yeah, we just discussed this. We talked about the motion in the second about 30 minutes ago. We just discussed this. I asked a parliament question. He answered it. Okay, well, ask him then. He told everybody it was proper. Good point. You know what? Can we please have order in the stands, please? Can you get order in the stands? Cause I went to jail. I'm not really trying to hear, I'm not really trying to hear that right now. Can we get order? Can we stop having people talk in the audience while we're talking?
Can anyone make a motion like that?
All the way to April.
I know.
Can you tell them?
It doesn't matter. It's a motion and a second. There's motion by Coleman, second by Smith, that, what's your motion?
Which is to discuss attorney fees,
It's to discuss attorney fees.
which is
Are there
in,
questions? Any questions? Roll call. Alderman Jackson.
My question is it going in judiciary or is it going under finance? Because it's money.
He asked for judiciary.
can I amend that to, finance? Can I amend that, motion to finance?
I'm not running the meeting anymore.
Oh, you want me to run it?
Oh.
Who's running?
That's a second, yes. I mean,
Okay.
yes.
Roll call.
It's followed by debate. It's followed by debate. I have something to say on that. It's followed by debate.
You made the motion.
I made
Go
the
ahead.
motion,
Go
now
ahead.
it's followed by debate. Are you paying attention to what the attorney is
Question on your
saying?
motion.
Okay. The purpose of this, the reason why I want to move it to committee to give some more people some information. I want to make sure, that I want to discuss attorney fees, not just my attorney fees, but the current city attorney fees and what the taxpayers are paying for. And I would like to do it proper, decent, and in order. So I would like to present it to the council as a whole, right, on the public, to everybody in public, about the fees and the attorney fees. And it's just a discussion at this point. So, these attorney fees are, do I have to say what they're related to? Should I say what they're related to?
It's up to you, it's your motion.
Okay. I want to make sure that we're not, frivolously spending money on our attorneys to, prosecute a sitting alderman. And if we are paying and we are giving money to our city attorney, to, prosecute, then I just want to make sure that all of the aldermen are in agreement that this is something that we want to do. We want to pay our city attorney taxpayers' dollars to prosecute one of us.
I can tell you right now
So,
that we're not charging you to prosecute you.
you had a 15-minute conversation with the Chief Perez about Coleman, and you already billed us for it. So you're already billing us for my case.
I am not billing the city to prosecute your case.
No, okay, you're not billing, you're to advise on my case. How about that? Is that better? You're charging the city either way, but that's what I want to discuss. That's why I'm gonna move it to committee, because obviously we see that it's something going on. They're either not prosecuting or they're giving us legal advice from the taxpayers' money. Either way, we're paying these attorneys with taxpayers' dollars.
If there was criminal
And
charges brought
I
up here
want-
in the city, our attorney should get involved with it,
Well, can we
whether
do-
it comes from an alderman or an employee.
I thought you gotta address the chair.
I'm the chair, remember?
I thought you said you wasn't the chair. I
As
thought you stepped
as I
down.
stated, if anything criminal damage to property that was done here in the city,
Call
whether,
the point.
where,
call the
whether,
point
whether
to
it was
vote.
an alderman
Call
or
to
an
point.
employee,
Call the
to
point.
we
vote.
are gonna
Call the
charge that
point.
person, and whether he goes
Call
to
to
jail or not,
vote.
that's on that
Call to
person.
vote.
Call the vote.
Murphy. Alderman January,
Aye.
Alderman Jackson,
Aye.
Alderman Coleman,
Aye.
Alderman Evans, Alderman Allen,
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried. Anything else you have, Mr. Coleman?
Yes,
Alderman Coleman, I should say.
no problem.
No, you
No.
do not have the floor. No, you do not have the floor.
The mayor's the chair.
He can ask me to answer a question. You will be put out if you
The mayor,
continue on.
the mayor is the chair of the meeting.
Leave him alone.
Why is he speaking? You know better. He should know better. He was an alderman, wasn't he?
Yes, I was.
Then you should know better.
Motion,
Go ahead, Alderman.
motion,
Do you have anything else?
motion to move to, committee, a resolution. I just need a second, then we follow that by debate.
A resolution for? Could we get what's the resolution for?
After we get a second, we can debate.
It's not a complete motion.
Okay, well, Parliament question, can you turn it into a complete motion? Cause that's what you're getting paid for.
Information to make it a complete question, because I don't know what the resolution is about.
Okay, this is what the resolution, is about. I will be addressing, the camera, in this, resolution. I'll be presenting a resolution to the alderman, that will be referencing, that day, of the alleged incident. And, basically, we can do a resolution here in City Hall, or the alderman can actually be, subpoenaed to court, and they can answer the question to the judge. So
Second.
what I'm trying to do is make sure that I don't subpoena all 7 aldermen, and we talk about it on the floor, and we come up with a resolution on the floor, instead of all 7 aldermen going to court and answering the judge's questions.
Second.
What is this motion for?
I will be presenting a resolution. Okay? There's a resolution to discuss the question, the incident and question.
Okay.
Which committee?
Okay? And that committee would be judiciary on December the 2nd. And at that time, I would present
There's a
everything
motion
that I
and a
have.
second for a resolution to discuss the damage to criminal property that was done by the
No, allegedly.
alleged criminal damage to property. Any questions?
Question.
Alderman Jackson.
As chairman of judiciary, am I gonna have this in a timely manner so I can review it to make sure that it's something that the committee can, move forward on? Not the night before. Or the night of.
Out of all due respect to the chairman, if you don't feel like you have enough time, I can absolutely work with you on that.
No, I said I wanna know, are you gonna have it ready to present to me beforehand?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Just give me a
I don't wanna
deadline.
Wait, no, like the 2nd and get it at 5 minutes before 6.
What about a week before? Is that good?
Week's fine.
All right, I'll give you a week before.
Alderman Murphy.
Like to know not about the details of the resolution, but how that resolution would impact whether or not any or all of us were subpoenaed.
I can't tell you what necessarily will prevent you from being subpoenaed. The state's attorney's office, I can't control what their strategy is.
Understood, but I wanted to ask it. Because if it doesn't preclude a subpoena, then I'm not sure what the purpose would be. However, if we vote to go forward with it, I just want to know where that puts us collectively and where that would put me, for example, individually. In other words, could I still be subpoenaed to appear in court? And if the answer is possibly yes, that's an important piece of information for me before I cast my vote.
Mr. Chairman, can I?
Alderman Coleman.
Let me address that. He is right. The state's attorney strategy, as far as subpoenaing you, he cannot determine, but I can tell you my defense strategy.
And Alderman Coleman,
and-
with all due respect, I would prefer not to know any more about this than I already do.
Okay, well,
And
you,
I believe that I have that right to ask you not to share that information.
no. I'm telling you procedure. It's not, I'm not.
I do not want to hear it.
Okay, well, I'm telling the rest of the aldermen then. What was brought up was, that this incident was motivated by me, going against council's wishes. And, I'll go ahead and afford her an opportunity to step out.
You can step out.
No problem. Give me a courtesy to step out. So, the defense, myself, will be, and our attorney team, have intentions on subpoenaing all 7 aldermen to see, if they're, to subpoena all 7 aldermen to see what their opinion is, right? Because I'm being accused of doing something against the aldermen's wishes. So if that's the way that the aldermen feel that I did something against their personal wishes, then that's something that they would have to tell the judge. If they feel that it was, had no criminal intent to it, that's something that they would tell the judge as well. So, what I'm trying to do is to talk about it on the floor so it can be a convenience, because I don't want to have to do that. I'd rather put things on record, and if you don't want to come to the council meeting, you don't have to. But if we discuss it in committee, then I could use that information instead of subpoenaing the aldermen and have them come in for questioning, because I don't want to do that. I think that's a huge inconvenience to all of the aldermen here, and I would rather do it on the council floor than in the chambers.
City Attorney?
Just in anticipation of this possible debate at judiciary on December 2nd, how much transparency is there going to be during the deliberations as to what is alleged to have occurred and your position on it? Like, are you going to open up the conversation and are you going to answer questions about what allegedly happened? I mean, you're opening this up to a possible conversation about a criminal prosecution that you're subject to. And what you say during council is a public statement that could be used against you. And so I want to make sure I understand that you want to have that conversation in public and you want to expose yourself to potentially not exculpatory statements.
Listen, yes, that's what I'm saying. If I didn't do nothing wrong, I don't have nothing to hide. And that's the way I feel. I talk about it. I don't have nothing to hide. Now, to sit here and allow my character to be assassinated and to spread rumors about me is absolutely ridiculous. And I don't have anything to hide. And I'm willing to be as transparent as any alderman up here wants me to be, because I have nothing to hide. And that is against, like they say, my attorney's advice. That's against my advice. I don't have nothing to hide. My mama said if I ain't did nothing wrong, I ain't got nothing to worry about.
So there's a motion and a second. There was motion by Coleman, second by January, that there's a resolution regarding the alleged criminal damage to property by.
On judiciary, December 2nd.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call.
Alderman January,
Aye.
Alderman Jackson,
Aye.
Alderman Coleman,
Aye.
Alderman Evans,
Aye.
Alderman Allen, Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
No.
Motion carried. Is there anything else, Alderman Coleman?
No, sir, thank you.
Mayor.
Alderman Smith.
All right, it's that time of the year again for the fall ward meeting fish fry. It's gonna take place on this Saturday at 11 o'clock. Our department head's gonna be there, our mayor's gonna be there, and the city of North Chicago will be there. Come with your questions. We are all ready to hear from you. And I talked with my sponsor, the Kenneth Smith Fishing Show. He guaranteed the fish is gonna be fresh and ready for you on this Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. You'll come with your questions, and it's gonna be a great time. Like I said, it's fall. It's been a great fall, and we're gonna have a great time of fellowship and fish on this coming Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. to 3 a.m., to 3 p.m. Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Jackson.
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have been waiting my turn very appropriately.
Excuse me, Alderman January,
And-
please take the floor.
You know, this little ghost over here, Ward 7, was waiting to speak.
Go right ahead.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Thank you.
Please accept my apology.
I do.
Thank
Thank you. What I am bringing up to you, Mayor, and to the city council is, making basically a statement or a request based on a statement that Alderman Evans made last, council meeting. And that is, I am requesting that each and every member sitting up here on this council, including the clerk and yourself, Mayor Rockingham, for a FOIA of each and everyone's criminal record to be brought to the council for the citizens to be aware. That is my request, and I hope to have that request completed by Friday, 11/22. And that'll be in time for the next meeting on 12/2. Thank you so much.
Alderman Jackson.
Thank you. A couple of things real quickly. First off, for those who are not aware, and the councilman, you all have a copy, our North Chicago Exchange Club is having their Make Your Meal Matter Day tomorrow at the Culvers from the hours of 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. 10% of the proceeds from Culvers will be deducted and donated to the North Chicago Exchange Club. So if you can support this and support your Exchange Club to keep it going, and we would greatly appreciate that. So again, that's tomorrow, November 19th, from the hours of 5 to 8, with 10% of all sales will be donated to the North Chicago Exchange Club, or the Exchange Club of North Chicago. Second thing I have is, I've got complaints from residents in the first ward about people blowing leaves into vacant areas, and hopefully I would get this addressed to the right department to at least take a look at it. I promised the resident that I would bring this up because it is of concern. It's not just people blowing leaves in their yard, but they're blowing leaves in vacant yards that no one is even living at the property. And I did drive by and I did take a picture, which I'll share with the proper gentleman on this matter, so we can hopefully get this resolved. And the third thing is, do we have, and I guess I would go to Public Works, do we still suck up leaves or do they just still have the bag of it? And I apologize. Okay, and so that was a concern, is, unlike our community to the north that obviously has the vac truck. I explained to the resident that we don't have a vac truck, so I was thinking I was correct. And so all the bags I got in my garage aren't going to waste, so, we'll go from there. So those are the three things. And also, just as an informational, as Alderman January has suggested, and I would like to address this to Chief Perez, is that we can have some information regarding Mr. Toll's request about repealing the overnight parking, so we can have a presentation on that at the next council meeting on why we have it, why we need it. So therefore, we can address the question that was asked by him, if you don't mind. All right, that's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Allen?
Humphrey come up and talk about them orange bags for the recycle.
That was
Oh,
part of,
okay,
that was
okay,
part of mine,
okay.
but go ahead.
All right.
You
No,
got
no,
him,
no.
you got him. Go ahead and come on up, Hombre. That was gonna be part of mine, but okay.
I'm sorry, man.
You stole my thunder. Stole my thunder.
Sorry about that.
That's quite all right.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I wanted to address, the, Hefty Renew, recycling program, which is in addition to the existing, recycling program that we have, that's, every week when your garbage is picked up, you put out the trash that goes to the landfill, you, put out the trash or the recycling. There are items that are labeled as hard to recycle. And there's a new program that is completely optional. I want to put that out there right now, just as the recycling is optional. This is also optional. But these hard to recycle items include things like styrofoam, takeout containers, trash bags. I mean, if you, not trash bags, but the grocery bags. If you look, like when you go to the grocery store, they have the recycling container to go back and take those. Well, these can now be put in the these orange bags, which are, this program is presented by Hefty, Swalco, and LRS. And so what the residents do is put these hard to recycle items, and I do have some flyers which I can make available for everyone. But there is in the newsletter, there's an article, and there's a code in the code bank where you can go and find the same information online and also get a starter kit, which includes one of these orange bags. And it's very simple. You put these hard to recycle items inside the bag and put them on top of your recycling. And so once you put it on top, LRS comes and picks it up every week and takes it off. These are items that don't end up in the landfill. And these are items that normally couldn't go inside the recycling. So if anyone has any questions about it, I'm definitely available to answer those. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Alderman January, then Alderman Jackson.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Is this excluding currently the military housing for right now?
No, the military housing is also under LRS as well.
Okay, so we can
And so-
get those bags from the city hall here?
Yes, ma'am. Well, the bags, and there's a starter kit.
Okay.
And you can get one of the bags in the starter kit, but the bags are available for purchase in grocery stores. So there's a carton of.
I knew there was a catch.
Yeah. So if you wanted to participate in the program, you would buy these bags, and those locations are available online.
Okay, and it's good to know, so that way it's on record that the wards that fall into the military housing, this is available if they want to opt in to do it. So,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay, two quick questions, sir. One, are you able to put a flyer together and send out, so for the aldermen that have, obviously, social media can put it out there so people can see it and understand what's going on as far as that goes?
We
If
already-
you-
I emailed that this morning.
Yeah.
'Cause okay, I haven't seen it yet, so
That was emailed this morning, sir.
Yeah.
okay, well, I don't have it. I'm just saying it could.
Do you
be
need me to
included.
send it to you again?
Would you please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then number two, is there any additional costs because of this program that the city will incur because we're doing it? I just want to make sure I'm 100% clear on that.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
Alderman Smith.
What are the pros and cons of utilizing this program as opposed to not and just putting everything in a regular cycle bin? Because you did say it's gonna be an additional cost for this, for the bags and stuff.
There is an additional cost of the bags, and that is of course, at the grocery store. This is not a program that was designed or executed by the city. This is a program that was put together by Hefty and Swalco. So obviously, one major con is that you do have to purchase the bags to participate. But as I said, it is optional. One major pro is that, for the people who are, who recycle and believe in recycling and, treating our earth well, this doesn't end up in landfill. The landfill is right here in our community in Lake County. I mean, you pass by it, it's in Mundelein, Grays Lake, you pass by, you can smell it. There's trash that's in the street. So these items are not ending up in the landfill. That's a major pro. And then convenience. I recycle myself, and like I said, I bring home grocery bags, and all of a sudden I've got this huge ball of grocery bags that I either put in the trash or I have to cart them back to the grocery store. So just convenience of being able to put these in the bags and putting them out with the regular trash, along with, as I said, I mean, if you take a look, and what I'd like to do is pass these out. I'll send that to you, sir.
Thank you.
But if you look at some of the items that are on here, the styrofoam containers, a lot of these items are things that, a lot of these are items that we have and use every day. And, we really don't want them to end up in the landfill. But that option, once again, is completely on the resident. If, they don't want to participate, they don't have to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Follow-up question.
Yes, Alderman.
Do we know what the price is for the bags and or how they come in? Do they come like the regular Hefty bags, the offhand?
They do. They come in a carton, and I've looked at them online. They're about $12 for, I believe, 20 bags in each carton. Once again, this program was not designed by the city. Okay, this is Hefty, and I presented this to the senior citizen group, and they had some of the same concerns. And I'll ask everybody, like I asked them, don't shoot the messenger. This is available for people to use or not to use. So.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Ambre. Appreciate that.
Once again, but people can come to City Hall and get a starter kit with the information that I have today and one bag. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't have a starter kit right now, and I don't have access to finance. That's where they are. But if you come by tomorrow, I'd be happy to get one for you. Okay. All right.
Anything else? Anyone else? Okay. No more, anyone else on the miscellaneous? Okay, I do have a few things I did want to mention to council, and Alderman, that was one of them, the Hefty recycling. That's quite all right. But a couple of things that are going on here at City Hall. First one is in discussion with the comptroller and chief of staff, it appears that North Chicago property values are going to increase. That that with the termination of the downtown TIF can allow us to reduce next year's city property tax rate. Did you hear that? Reduce. Yes. So I have asked staff to present to council on December 2nd's meeting, reduction options. We are doing our part not to increase property tax burdens, and we're gonna try to hope that this will be passed on to other governing bodies like District 187 that was here today, who has the highest tax, anyway. But yes, so, yeah, due to the fact that we did reduce our, terminate our TIF, then, and the property values are going up, we do have that opportunity, and I'd like to see if there's a possibility that we can reduce taxes coming into this next following year. Next thing, staff is working on obtaining a cultural district designation for our Sheridan Road from Martin Luther King to 10th Street. It appears that the city meets the requirements, and designation will open up a number of economic opportunities for community development and funding opportunities as well. So I know Taylor has been working on that, and we thank you. He brought that to our attention, and I think that's something that if we're able to get additional tax dollars and grants for having this cultural district designation, I think that's something that the city needs to work towards.
Mr. Chairman,
Alderman Coleman.
you said 10th Street and 22nd Street.
From Martin Luther King Drive on Sheridan from Martin Luther King to 10th Street.
On Sheridan.
On Sheridan Road.
Okay,
a
thank you.
cultural district. Okay. Next thing, our fiscal year 2026 budget and capital project planning is underway. I know our chief of staff and our comptroller did a kickoff about a week and a half ago at our Fire Station 2, just to start moving ahead to start moving on our budget and our capital project planning. I think that is something that we need to make sure that we're staying ahead of, and not something that we have to try to catch up with as we move forward, moving forward in our FY26 budget. And lastly, I know that the chief of staff, myself and Taylor, we met with CMAP to discuss transportation needs and concerns. One of the issues that we discussed was the pedestrian arm crossing at our North Chicago Metro train station. There, when people cross the tracks there, there's nothing there, just a bell, and I think lights. But, you know, we've had in here in North Chicago 2 fatalities as people tried to cross that track. So we've been trying to push to get gates now to make sure that people stay safe. CMAP has agreed to move these issues forward for discussion as part of their regulatory agenda, and North Chicago, and along with some other communities. So just some of the things that we're doing here at the city, just to try to make sure that you know, we're doing everything we can for the residents of North Chicago. So with that, Christmas tree, yes, thank you. December 3rd. So we have our city council meeting December 2nd. December 3rd is our tree lighting ceremony. Usually we hold it right after Thanksgiving, but because it falls on a Monday this year, we have city council, we're gonna do it on the Tuesday. So please come out, and you know, we have it down at our Fire Station 2. We have, hopefully, we've got, is Aubrey took off already? But there's gonna be music, we have everything for the kids. Santa will come and take part. If the ladies like to sit on his lap, that's up to them. But come out, have a good time, and that is gonna be at 6 o'clock, December 3rd. It's a Tuesday, so please come out and join us. So.
Mayor,
Alderman Smith.
one more thing. I just want to say, thank you, citizens. On last week, I went to represent and learn. I went to the National League of Cities to learn more information while being a good alderman for you. It was very informative. I learned a lot of good things and got some good information that I look forward to implement in our great city of North Chicago. Thank you for citizens. It was really great.
Very good. Yes. Speaking on that also, thank you, Alderman. I think it is a good learning experience to go out and get as much, information as we can. I know, like you say, we had the military communities that we sat at the National League of Cities. I was also asked to sit on a panel there with regarding PFAS and lead lines. And so it was very informative. I had an opportunity to discuss from the city of North Chicago all that we have been doing here to address the lead line issues. PFAS, most communities have that in their water. Everything has PFAS in it, but you have to have below a certain level. The Woodbury from Minnesota, the lady that was on the panel with me, she draws water from aquifers or wells, and they have a high concentration. We're blessed to have Lake Michigan water, so our levels continue to stay low. But as far as lead lines, we have some 900 lead lines here in the city of North Chicago that we have to try to address to get changed over to copper. I know that we just did our major project from Sheridan Road to Lewis Avenue, the main water lane that came down 16th Street. We were able to change over at least 100 lead lines there over to copper. So we are getting dollars from the EPA to address those issues, and we will continue to move forward to get those additional lines replaced also. So, thank you.
I too went to Tampa, and it was a class that I want everybody to hear, and I wish I had all the information. It was actually a city council, a small city council in your community, to teach you how to act at a city council, to represent your community, to represent your section of the city. So that would be something that I would like to see happen here in our city. And let people know we are here to talk about the city business and those personal attacks. But like I said, for 4 months, you guys will hear it. Or this is the time that some people call the silly season. You will hear a lot of different things come out, but you got to make sure they are true. That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
More than welcome.
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman January, then Alderman Coleman.
Thank you, Mayor. Alderman Evans, that class sounds really wonderful. I would love for you to share that with all of us councilmen up here, just so that we can experience what you experienced and learn the information that you've gathered from that class. That would be awesome.
Oh, I will.
I'd appreciate it.
Yes, I'd be
Thank
more
you.
than happy to. Thank you.
Alderman Coleman.
For the record, I was in jail, so I couldn't go. I was arrested by the police. I was arrested by the police department, however that worked out. And second of all,
I think that was
I
my
am-
choice, but anyway.
okay, I didn't press charges on myself. That ain't the choice I made. Who pressed charges on me,
Point of
Mr. Mayor?
order.
Thank you. And second of all, for the record, I can't leave the state of Illinois to take care of city business. And that's when things get serious. Is that, it's all fun and games until my job is to go to classes like this. My job is to bring information back. But we let small personal things get between us. And at the end of the day, it ends up with a order that says your alderman cannot leave the state of Illinois to take care of his alderman's business. And I will be addressing that. If some people want to know my attitude for today, I won't say attitude for today, but my reason why I'm presenting so much today is because now it's affecting my job. Now it's affecting me going to work. It's affecting me taking care of council business. I've been quiet as long as possible, but now the hammer has hit the nail on the head. So I have to bring this to people's attention so that everybody understands the full story. So that's, for the record, I wasn't allowed to go to Florida. Thank you.
Miss Mayor. I know you're trying to get there. We gotta set that clock too, cause it's something.
Don't worry, we
Real-
got plenty of
real-
time.
Real quickly, the concern I have, and maybe, again, I can't obviously speak for the other 6 aldermen, but I feel that if we're going to conferences and things like that and using city funds, and they're not necessarily cheap, that each alderman that is attending or city official that's attending a conference should bring back some form of a report. Because that holds them accountable to know that you're really going to these events, that you're not going to party. Every organization I belong to, and I'm sure most of those are here, if you're using that organization's money, they're expecting to get something in return. So I feel the same thing should affect us as sitting officials, that we should be able to come back with some form of report. I mean, again, it doesn't need to be, lengthy, but at least tell us what you did, as far as the sessions, what did you go to? So I would like to request that be something that the aldermen consider doing. I'm not making a motion of it, but I do want to feel that we just go ahead and just do a report when you go.
Thank you. Any? All right, anything else? Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Been moved by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Allen, that the city council stand adjourned. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Let's take a break. I need a break.
And I'll go back into it, but I'd like to go ahead and have somebody, who's judiciary? I am. Can we go ahead and open that up? Because we do have an attorney here that needs to be.
Okay, I would like to open the Judiciary Committee meeting, call it to order. Not understand. I I'm just calling it to order. Madam Clerk, would you do the roll call, please?
Alderman Jackson.
Present.
Alderman Coleman.
Present.
Alderman Evans. Alderman Allen.
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Murphy. Alderman January.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. At this time, I believe we have one item that's up is the discussion / review of Brookstone. Mayor, you said we have a speaker for Brookstone, and please come up and introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Hold on a second. That mic is on.
Turn it, no,
No,
there
it's
you go,
green.
now you're on.
Green.
Green means go.
Green is
Duly noted. My name is Mark Heinley. I'm an attorney at Ansel Glink. Adam is my boss. I'm very pleased to be here tonight and and meet all of you. And I'm here, of course, to talk about Brookstone. I haven't been with you previously, so I gather you're generally in the loop, but I'm going to provide a brief overview and then field any questions you may have. So there are sort of two parallel tracks that we have concerns with Brookstone, Brookstone and Regency at Cole Park. The first concerns the physical built environment. This project, as you all are probably painfully aware, broke ground, I think, in 2016. And a bond was posted at that time to guarantee that it would be completed in accordance with the plans they submitted. A temporary certificate of occupancy was issued, I think, in 2020. And that was done, I think, strategically to generate some revenues at the property so that they could then complete the built environment in the way that the city had previously approved. Of course, I'm talking to you tonight because that did not go completely according to plan. And as I stand before you tonight, the city has generated a punch list of items that we've been chasing for some time now. Some of the items relate to items that have simply not been completed at all, and others relate to items that have been completed but are out of spec to a degree that the city and its engineers are uncomfortable with. As to that bond claim, we have made a claim on the bond, meaning that we have notified the surety that the principal hasn't performed. We have furnished 20-some thousand pages of documents at the surety's request so they can review the matter. The punch list has been updated over time as things have been completed. Things have been slashed off the list. Fewer of those items have been slashed than I think we would all like. Most recently, the most recent iteration of the punch list was generated in August. The surety's investigation is ongoing. All of the relevant parties met over the summer at the property, including representatives from the surety, to kind of walk the property and identify the various issues. Without going too far into the weeds, unless you'd like me to, I would say as a general matter, the developer's position is that the city is being hyper-technical with some of the items, and they believe that they have delivered within a degree of commercial reasonableness in terms of some of the site grading and things like that. We certainly don't concede that point, and we're waiting to see what the surety says. My anticipation, frankly, is it will be something of a mixed bag. We've got a pretty lengthy punch list. I would be surprised if the surety pays out on all of the items without further proceedings, nor do I expect that they will deny all the items. My anticipation is that they will release some of the monies to the city to bid out completion, and others they will deny, and then the ball will be back in our court to in terms of what we want to pursue. So we're still waiting on that official ruling.
There's more than enough money left on the bond to pay for everything we anticipate still needs to be completed
Yes.
or repaired.
So the city hasn't released any of the bonds. So there are $7 million approximately held in reserve. The city's engineers have estimated that all of the outstanding items would total about $2.5 million. But then we also, the engineers advise a 25% contingency. So all in, we've got about $3 million, including that contingency, to allow for prices increasing, which of course they have. That's our feeling. About $3 million worth of items are still out there. And we've got about $7 million that has been set aside on this claim. So I think it is fair to say, and of course, the next issue I'm going to talk about is the safety issues, which I think have in some ways, in some important ways, perhaps, or maybe you're hearing more from your constituents about it, and that's I'll talk to you about tonight. I think ultimately it is fair to say that it is something of a resource problem on behalf of the developer. And as I'll talk to you on the safety arena, this is a developer out of Atlanta that manages dozens of properties, mostly throughout the Southeast, but a few throughout the Midwest. And my view, and I've got a fair amount of experience dealing with distressed properties, is that anyone in the business of making money will do exactly as little as you allow them to do. And so it is critical that we make them rearrange their internal priorities to focus on our North Chicago development. They are crying poor with respect to taking care of their property here, while at the same time, they've got multiple developments slated to open that are various stages of development. So I don't think it's fair to say that they don't have the money. I think it is fair to say that we need them to reshuffle the funds and pay attention to us. And to that end, I'm happy to report we've made some significant progress just in the last week. I was in this room last week for an administrative adjudication hearing where the hearing officer was conducting a hearing on a pending chronic nuisance property case. And I'm happy to report that she found that this was in fact a chronic nuisance property. She found that they were liable for that and imposed a $500 per day fine to be held in abeyance, and I'll tell you what that means in a second, as a tool to get them to focus on this property. You guys may feel differently about what I'm about to say next, but from my perspective, we don't want to collect that money. We want to use that money as the stick that gets them to focus their resources, which are finite, on this property and making real improvements on the ground. So they presented to the hearing officer a safety plan or a nuisance abatement plan. They had tendered it just immediately before the hearing, so staff in the police department are conducting a review of that right as we speak. Well, hopefully not literally as we speak for the sake of your overtime budget, but they're reviewing that to determine whether the plan presented is adequate and what needs to be, what additional measures might need to be taken. My experience with these matters is that a plan only works if it is incredibly specific and attached to deadlines, so that there's not a nebulous sense of, hey, we're working on it, we're talking to people, we're getting bids. We need improvements on the ground. And really a lot of what we're talking about does relate to physical improvements that we think will assist with the safety. Things like hardwired security cameras at specific locations that our police department and your police department in working with the developers feel is most beneficial. Additional security lighting, private security detail, manning entrances, things of that nature. Which is why I say it really comes down to these are things that cost money, and we need to make sure that they're allocating appropriate amounts of money here. So on December 12th, we'll be back in front of the hearing officer. We'll have had conversations with the developer in the interim, and at that point, we will be presenting hopefully a mutually acceptable joint safety plan. Otherwise, we will present dueling safety plans, and the hearing officer will select the one that she feels is more likely to engender a positive outcome. And that plan will have the deadlines attached to it. And that $500 per day fine, when I say it's held in abeyance, that means they're not racking the fine up now. Well, they are, but the fine will be forgiven to the extent that they are able to complete their tasks on time and in full. To me, having them spend those scarce resources paying fines to you guys is much better spent making improvements that the residents will experience to make their lives better and safer, because our position is that all housing residents, whether it's low-income housing or not, deserve to live in a safe, secure environment. And while we don't expect any property owner to be a super guarantor that nothing bad will ever happen, We do think there are improvements that can be made that will set this development up to be more successful. I can also note that turning up the heat on them has worked, and so they have identified, working with the police department, certain units that have been either repeat offenders or there have been kind of a nexus of criminal activity. We heard that there is an eviction underway, and that 3 of the other units have voluntarily vacated. I'm using voluntarily somewhat loosely. There was, some pressure brought to bear. And those things are important. They're not fully leased up, but we've been trying to send the message that is in their interest to not be so short-sighted as to merely view every unit that can be occupied as an income stream, but to recognize that if a unit is a problem unit and it's vacated, it will be filled once it's a safer environment it'll become a more attractive development that will only help occupancy, which will in turn generate the revenues that can hopefully be allocated to a safer property and a property that looks more like what you were promised in 2017. So I'm happy to field any questions you've got, but the long and short of it is we've got a $500 per day fine that will be used to leverage a deadline intensive property improvement plan. And we're waiting for the surety to make a formal response to our declaration of default under the bond.
Alderman Smith, you got a question?
What type of pressure can we put on them or when will those deadlines be put in place? That's one first question. Second question, what is?
December 12th.
Say again?
December 12th.
Okay. And then the second question, what is the occupancy rate right now?
Let me see, I can actually be pretty specific. In the senior community, there's approximately 50 units, but there are 50 units, and I believe there are 8 vacancies to date, as I speak to you today. And there are 27 vacancies in the Brookstone development, which is the Brookstone side, which is 200 units, I believe. So approximately 10%. We've been in contact with the Lake County Housing Authority, which actually owns the underlying land. And they've told us that that is a higher rate of vacancy than they generally see with most of their properties. And there could be lots of reasons for it, but one of them might be is that people would like to live where they feel safe. And that's what I think. And so we believe that as these problems are addressed, that the vacancy will be addressed as well. We have a conference call tomorrow with officials from the Illinois Housing Development Authority, which is the senior lender on the property. They've got tens and tens of millions of dollars in this property, and the Lake County Housing Authority as well. Those officials, this development has their attention. They came out and walked the property with the mayor and your administrator recently within the last couple of weeks, and have had a lot of in-depth conversations. I will note in passing that there is a little bit of inherent tension between, if you've got a finite pile of resources, and I'm not telling you to make any decisions tonight, but it's something that may be worth thinking about. Although we're laying claim on the bond, the insurer, to the extent that they pay out, there's an underlying indemnification agreement. They go back to the developer and says, hey, make us whole. So when you've got a scarce set of resources, you want to make sure they're being allocated to the most important thing. And I am not suggesting to you what the most important thing should be, but I will note that dollars spent on putting up a gazebo or regrading a park or whatever are and I'm not impugning those as being important things, but those are by definition dollars that are then not available for some of the other safety issues. So I don't think we're there yet to need to make those decisions. And our position is that we're entitled to all of those things. When they submitted plans and they were approved, that is what they need to deliver. That's the nature of the bond claim. And of course, we're demanding safety improvements as well. We may get to a point at some point where it might be wise to do some prioritization and making sure that they're spending the resources first in the places where we think that those dollars are best spent in terms of resulting in real world improvements that make people's lives better. I'm not asking you for any direction.
How can we, or is there a way that we can, as we do the walkthrough or the walkthroughs have been done, where we can have input on priority? Let's say, just picking something, there's no smoke detector in apartments. We know that there are, but let's just say there, so that would be a priority as opposed to a new doorknob. You know, so I'm just saying, how
Yeah.
can we have a say, so since we're behind the 8 ball, how can we have input? How can we put pressure on them of making these things prioritize?
That's a great question. In some ways, a better question than you know. So our initial tactic was to prioritize for them what we want to see done for of our laundry list. Do this, this, and this first, then look at this. Look at these other things. We have ultimately come to the conclusion, though, that we do not want to be in a position where I would say we are negotiating against ourselves to give them some relief for the list.
I think the answer to your question is this: we're gonna prioritize safety.
Right,
first.
number one.
Safety, the safety improvements and the deadline that Mark talked about that we set on December 12th, that will be prioritized. The punch list items regarding whether they've ever finished public improvements, whether they've ever finished the construction process on the development, those are important. We will continue to pursue those, but we will pursue the safety first.
Amen.
So public safety.
Is there a breakdown on the safety?
They presented us a preliminary safety improvement plan. As Mark said, staff is reviewing that, and we're going to provide responses to that to make sure that it's specific enough and has clear deadlines.
Can we get information on that? Or do we have any input on that?
Sure, we have a copy of their list.
The plan that they submitted to the city that they gave us at the 11th hour right before the meeting was insufficient. There's no doubt about that. I don't think anybody on the law enforcement side of the house or the administration side of the house was comfortable with it. We're turning around, we're meeting on Thursday. We've got all hands on deck for a meeting to turn around and break down what we believe should be the priorities and what's reasonable. CCTV, as Mark described, hardwired, physical security, entrance gates. Do we want to fence the entire facility? That's something we want to talk about. Nobody's made a firm decision on that. To remove the Jersey barriers and close those off seems to have solved some of the problems in Prairie View when they did that some years ago, from what I understand. So we're looking at everything, deferring to law enforcement and their expertise on physical security. Happy to turn around, as Mark said, to give the entire council a copy of the report that the Benoit Group gave us. But I used an expletive when I saw it. You know, I was kind of like, this just, it wasn't good enough. There wasn't enough thought on it. Sitting down and having discussions with our team and saying, hey, why don't you guys have a police officer move in? So you can have private security by having one of our police officers move in? I mean, it was just, and it is resources, because everything they've talked about committing to has a limited dollar amount attached to it. So it's clear that some of this is financial capacity, and they are allocating resources to other places. When Mark said and discussed it after our hearing or adjudication hearing, is we don't care where they get the money from, as long as the money's focused back on North Chicago. So happy to share.
Are we able to be a part of that meeting?
Huh?
Are we able to be a part of that meeting?
This should be a meeting that just is a staff meeting. Should just be staff.
That's right.
So.
So leave it alone.
Because there are going to be decisions that may come to the council as an elected body in the policy-making, decision-making at that point. So the work behind the scenes should be happening with staff, our staff, their staffs.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, you're next.
So, if I understand the surety bond that we have out there, and the bond council, I guess, they're gonna look at this sheet of things that has not been completed. And then they're gonna say, well, this one's can go away, or this one can go away, or this one has to be done. I mean, and part of that is the security and safety also out of that surety bond? Or is
So-
that a separate?
Well, I'm speculating about what they will do, but I will tell you the legal standard when you make a claim on a bond is whether the default, or in this case, defaults you're declaring are material. In other words, to use a ridiculous hypothetical that is not indicating that this is what you guys are pursuing right now. But if in the context of a $100 million high rise, there is a balcony that's a half inch too short, if you, or whatever. Forgive the example if it's intended to be ridiculous. If you made a claim on the surety to tear the whole thing down and replace all the balconies because of a half inch distinction, it would be thrown out.
Right.
So what I am saying is my expectation of what they will do, going through the list with, and they've got their own engineers and they're talking to their experts and talking to the principal, I'm sure as well, and the general contractor, whatever. I think it's going to be a mixed bag in terms of our list. I think some of the items, and I'm not saying we have to roll over and accept whatever the response is, but I think some of them they will say, this is a immaterial, it's out of spec by 6 inches, but spending $400,000 to correct it's not going to change the drainage.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm speaking of,
So some of the safety requirements are supplemental to what their original plans called to be completed. So some of the things that we're asking them to do to address safety measures are in addition to what the original plans required them to complete.
All of those things are separate. Yes, when I said they're running down parallel tracks. So when you're talking about the bond claim actually has nothing to do with our safety items.
that's what I was, okay. That's
saying-
what
yeah,
I was
the
hoping
bond-
that- Yeah, that's a whole nother issue. I mean,
Correct.
you know, some of the things is the detention pond wasn't to spec, you know, which is actually a safety issue.
Yeah, it's the shelf or whatever
I mean,
that, yeah.
if someone falls in, they're gonna go to the bottom instead of hitting that shelf. And so, I mean, those are liability, safety issues that are out there. And I know, I mean, they're minor, but they're not, because, I mean, street signs, they should have, you know, I think they put up temporary street signs and they're still there. You know, they need to have things improved to the standards that we okayed when we told them to move that project forward.
Right, it was their plan. We just stamped their plan and now we're
remember
asking.
that, their plans haven't been completed and we should be holding them accountable.
Yes.
And then on the safety side, like we all say, you know, they should have a security guard. They should have, you know, enough management there during the day. So if people have problems, they have somebody to go to. I mean, these are just basic safety things that are there. And the last thing I want to say, and you talk about, you know, 8 units that aren't being done at Brookstone, which is the seniors, and 27 units that are vacant at Regency. They should be working with our police department and the Lake County Housing to vet those people coming in. I mean, I know that they want whoever they can so they can get their rent. But they bring in the problems with that instead of working with our police to say, hey, this person just came from Waukegan and he has a criminal record, but yeah, you're gonna let him in. Those aren't acceptable because you're just gonna create more problems. So get off the horse.
January, go ahead.
Thank you. I just have to agree with the mayor about vetting the individuals. There has not been a place that I have gone and rented from that has not run a criminal background on myself. So what's the difference with them and everybody else in the community that does this as well? So it's just, that's kind of something I was talking to when all of this started coming up and we were really talking through some plans and thoughts and stuff like that. That was one of my big things. What are they doing to vet these people? Because I know I've been vetted so many times. I don't
Well,
know,
and in
you
the
know.
context of what we're talking about, that's such an inexpensive item to do. So I agree. I mean, some of the other things are that they have done, which are good, but they're almost laughably small. They updated their website apparently for the first time so that their residents experiencing a problem know who they can call in terms of the Dorchester Management Group. And as I was hearing it, it's sort of incredible. Wait, you've been open for 5 years and you finally put a phone number on your website. So yes, I will say to their credit, they, for this year administrative hearing last Thursday, they had several higher ups on their managerial level that flew in from Atlanta for the hearing. Not enough. I mean, and not in terms of people. I mean, that in and of itself is an important gesture to show that they're paying attention. It's, not enough if it isn't followed by action. But again, with a distressed property, I think it's usually one of two things. Either the owner or entity or person, and this is true with a residential house as well as it is in a big multifamily development, either there are not resources that are available, in which case it's important to recognize that and explore getting somebody else in there to manage it that can bring resources to bear, which is a strategy that's, receivership is definitely dangling out there. And the other is where there are potential resources and they're just not taking you seriously enough. And that second point is what I think we've gone a long ways towards combating. And a $500 per day fine they will pay attention. You will have some resources, I believe, allocated to this that may not otherwise have been. You're becoming hard to ignore, I think, to your credit.
That's good to hear because I keep hearing, in the discussion tonight that they're adding on, they're building other properties. How can you build more properties if you have limited funds, which you're stretching yourself, obviously, and then they're not taking care? I bet we're not the only property that they're not taking care of. But I'm glad we're speaking up and saying, hey, wait a minute, So thank you for all your time and efforts working with us on that project.
Yeah, and I know this has been, I'm sure it's been frustrating for all of you. We hear you. We're moving it along sort of as quickly as the process allows, and your police department's been terrific in terms of providing reviews. Trotter, your engineers have been invaluable in terms of preparing the list. And at the end of the day, I can help you with the legal stuff, but when you start talking about granular, the only thing I can fix around my house is when a light bulb goes out. I get to be the hero. It's my favorite time around the house. So, I've really leaned on your experts in terms of helping me understand what's critical. What do we ultimately, if they can perform on some things, can I, keep them focused on the main thing. But I think we're getting there.
Okay. Yep. Alderman Allen?
Yeah, I would love to see, you're meeting on the 12th. When we come on city council, I like to see your privatize, how you privatizing. So that way we can see, are we happy with that? Cause you guys may be looking at something different. So it'd be good that all the city council can see that we're looking at safety, looking at contacting people, fixing things in that community. Cause I don't mind fixing the pond right now, it's safety. So we don't want them to tell us what we're gonna do. We're gonna tell them what they're gonna have to do to make this right. Okay, that's what I wanna make sure.
Yeah, that would be extremely valuable input to have before the 12th, because the 12th is when the plan is going to be entered and the dates will be,
Okay.
Entered and everything. So yeah, that the sooner we can get that to you and we'll work to do
I
that.
appreciate that.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Coleman.
All right, since we're talking about safety, I know that we did offer them some money before, right? And they turned it down, it's to the best of my knowledge. And so, instead of taking that money and putting that money back into the community, into your ward in Brookstone, right? Instead of maybe getting an extra officer, or instead of finding other creative ways for safety, we decided, well, I wasn't here, but the council decided to purchase cameras and purchase these cameras. And I don't know how true this is, but so when they decided not to take the money, we brought cameras and we put one outside our alderman's office, and we put one at the water plant, and we put one somewhere else. But that money was for safety, right? And because they turned it down, we decided to put cameras up in the name of safety in offices throughout the city, instead of giving that money to the community.
I do
So
think.
my question, when I'm done, so my question to council would be, do you think that we should take that camera out from in front of our office and maybe put it somewhere in Brookstone to provide those residents some safety? And I believe we have some other cameras throughout the city. One of them is missing. I don't know where that one went, top of my head. But maybe we should put those cameras on a pole outside of Brookstone. So when things happen, then we can catch a criminal and we can deter crime. So I guess my question to council is, we got an extra camera in the hallway. Can we put that on a pole out on like 14th Street or?
We took the cameras that you're speaking about, Alderman, were not the cameras that were impacted by the save $250,000.
So those cameras was not brought by the grant?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you. On the record, those cameras that was purchased
There were
are
cameras.
not on the grant. They were not purchased by a grant.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay, what'd you say?
Not
They-
that grant.
Not that grant. The
Not
grant,
two-
the grant.
Can Chief come up and explain?
Yeah, the grant that
Absolutely.
Alderman
He would
Allen-
know.
The
I
grant
rather
that
have the
Alderman
chief.
Allen, the grant that Alderman Allen secured the
The
$250,000
$250,000
is not
was
the same
different.
grant from the
It
previous cameras.
It was
I
part of
thought that was
protection.
600. Well,
No, it
let
was
Chief clear it up.
$250 that was given
It was
to.
a $640,000 grant that was secured by the alderman from the state. The first of it went to put cameras in city buildings. The first part of it went to put in cameras in city buildings and cameras in high crime areas throughout the city. The second part, $250,000 of it, was supposed to have been given to Brookstone for a security guard. It is, and they knew this ahead of time. The attorneys worked it out, and it was supposed to be a reimbursable grant. What that means is the state of Illinois pays you back in 30 days what you spent the previous 30 days. Brookstone came back and said, that's not acceptable. They did not have the money to front out. The city went out and said, we will front you the first month. Thereafter, you're responsible for it. And they said, no, we can't do that. Thanks, but no thanks.
So let me make sure we're clear.
So in addition to it, when you're talking about putting cameras in Brookstone, actually you put 2 cameras in Brookstone in the high crime streets there. And each of those cameras have, or each of the heads has 4 cameras in it. So we have 8 cameras at Brookstone right now.
So
Now,
here's
whether
my-
or not they're power, because they were having issues with with putting power to the poles, I'm not 100% sure right now.
Okay, so here's my question, okay? We got $600,000 for safety in our community overall.
We got $600,000 for, part of it was for cameras, part of it was for security at Brookstone.
Okay, so part of it was for security and part of it was for camera.
Correct.
But all together, right, it was a grant for safety for people in our community, right?
Correct.
Okay? So what I'm asking you now is the cameras, right? You made the decision to put this camera that was for safety, right?
Correct.
Outside our alderman's office, right?
Correct.
And you also decided to put this camera, right, inside of personnel office in Public Works and the Water Department, right?
Correct.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, instead of having these cameras in, you got some cold over here? Instead of having these cameras inside of the city and inside of personal offices, do you feel that it would be better suited to put these cameras in the community for safety?
No, because the cameras that are inside are meant for inside buildings. The cameras that are outside are meant for outside purposes. You cannot take that camera and put it on a street pole.
So in your professional opinion as a police chief, you feel that out of all the inside places you can put a camera, right? Like maybe over our water at our water plant in case somebody
Alderman,
puts something
I'm
in
not
there,
gonna talk about a criminal.
or
I'm not gonna talk.
no, 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 we're talking about cameras.
Alderman,
Okay.
That
Okay, well, let me
question been
rephrase
asked and
it.
answered.
Let me rephrase it. So the best the safest, your decision to put a camera outside the alderman's office is what you felt was the best use.
Alderman, all due respect, he answered your question. What you're trying to do, and it sounds like you're trying to set up a defense for yourself, and this is not the place for that.
No, no, no,
It's
no,
totally
no, no.
inappropriate.
No, I'm asking him a professional.
And he
question
answered you already.
on what his professional opinion.
And he answered you already.
And I'm trying to get some help over to Brookstone, and that's what we're talking about.
How you gonna get help? They already have cameras, and you already explained the camera question that you just asked. So we're going back and forth over the same question you asked, and I'm done entertaining that. Let's move forward.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else, anything else? I'm done with this. I think we spent enough time on this process and getting the discussion that we need. And thank you, Mark, for your presentation, because you have opened our eyes to some different things. And at this time, I have nothing else. I ask for a motion to adjourn the
So moved.
Public Safety Committee
Second.
meeting. Moved by Alderman Allen, seconded by Alderman Evans to adjourn the meeting. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Jackson.
Aye.
Alderman Coleman.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Smith. Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Coleman, you said you needed something in, committee of the whole for, one of the reports?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Committee of the whole, have a roll call?
Wait,
I-
You got committee of the whole now?
Going back?
No.
Yeah, it's under committee of the whole now.
Right.
All the department heads.
Oh, at
So
the
we're
top.
back.
So we went, okay.
Yeah, went back.
And he's,
I just have,
Yeah.
I got.
okay.
Yep.
Oh, we just-
Committee of the whole.
I'm like, where are
Alderman
we at?
Jackson.
Present.
Alderman Coleman.
Present.
Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen.
here.
Alderman Smith. Alderman Murphy.
Present.
Alderman January.
Present.
Alderman Coleman, you said you, which.
For the police department,
Police.
Chief
Yeah.
Long and, Assistant Chief Long and Chief. You know, I just want you guys to know, Mr. Long has been like, why you got me in the middle of this mess? I figured you stood by this guy when they arrested me, so you can stand by him at city council. Chief, were there any, warrants that were executed throughout the city this month?
There were numerous warrants that were executed throughout the city.
Okay, and can I get an account on that?
Alderman, I don't think that's.
It's, we're doing police reports.
He said there's numerous. That's, I think that's as far as he needs to go in regard.
Are we
that.
talking 1,000? Are we talking 2? Are we talking 500?
I don't have that
Can I
data
get
in
a
front of me,
general-
Alderman, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay, is that normally in the report? I don't know.
It is not.
Okay, so it's not. Can you get that back to me? How many people were executed, the warrant was executed?
Sure.
Okay. And the reason why, that's not why I brought you up here, but I would like to know that information. Chief, Alderman, Council, Mayor, I want you guys to know there's a new thing called the Safety Act, which means that there's no cash bond. which means that at any time if anyone goes to jail after 3 o'clock, you will spend the night in jail. You won't be able to post bond. And I want the aldermen to also understand that the way we teach or the way we show our police officers to treat us as aldermen will one day affect us all, right?
Alderman, I think you're going down the wrong
No,
path here.
no.
This isn't appropriate.
No, I have an opportunity. I had an issue with something that happened, and I have the right to speak on it, like any other alderman. Okay. The issue that I have is I was not given the professional courtesy, okay, to say, hey, like any other politician, hey, go down to your attorney's office and turn yourself in the morning, right? And that is professional courtesy that I think all of the aldermen deserve, right? If you miss a traffic date, right? No, you're not, okay. If you miss a traffic date, right, that you
Alderman,
get
that's a-
afforded. Now, we've given.
Go ahead. Finish
Thank
your
you,
thing.
thank
Finish.
you, thank you.
But don't regarding my police on how they handle your situation.
I will not address your police at all. I'll address the alderman. Is that fair enough? Alderman, I want you to know, okay, the way that I'm treated, you can be treated like that one day as well. If for some reason you guys make a mistake and miss a traffic court date or anything of that nature, I believe that any alderman up here should be afforded the opportunity to go to their attorney and turn themselves in for such a small warrant, right? And not arrested at City Hall. Now, we have afforded our chief of police plenty of professional courtesy throughout the days, right? And I would just request that our police department treat us with dignity and they treat us with respect. And sometimes it's up to our police department to make a judgment call, right? Is this something that we want to do at 3 o'clock? Do we want to send our aldermen to jail overnight at 3 o'clock? This is the issue that I have with that. We spent $80,000 on rebranding our city to make our city look good. $80,000 is what we spent. And we have a police chief that decides to make a decision to put one of their aldermen. in the
Alderman,
McHenry-
can I address that?
No, I'm not
Or can I-
addressing
no,
him.
no.
No, that's not fair. I'm not addressing him,
Chief,
okay?
don't
So,
worry about it.
oh, you can sit down, I'm sorry. You're fine.
Thank
You can sit down. You're right, thank you. So if we're gonna spend that type of money to rebrand, we need a chief that is going to make a decision, right? That is in the best interest of our city, right? And if that means giving an alderman some professional courtesy and saying, hey, first thing in the morning, go down to your attorney, turn yourself in, and you better do it before Monday if you want to be tough on crime, right? If that's what he chooses to do, right? But just not affording or having the conversation with me, hey, did you know this was going on? Or hey, and I could have easily explained to the chief that the attorneys were addressing the issue at hand, right? So with that being said, I just want you guys to know, go ahead. I just want you guys to know what the situation was and how I felt about the situation. And I feel that we need a police chief that can make on the spot decisions that are in the best interest of our city, period.
So you're asking our chief of police to treat you different than any of our residents. So you're saying you want
Didn't we treat him different when?
special treatment in regards to a warrant that you had, and you're saying that
Didn't we give him?
chief and assistant chief should give you special privilege?
Didn't we give your
That-
chief
is
an
that-
assessment?
no, no,
Didn't we
just-
give your chief special privileges when he was,
Is that
when
what
he
you-
was accused of sleeping with the chief of staff?
Do you want
Huh?
that? Do you want that?
Did we give him special privileges when
Anytime
he
there's
was
a-
in the newspaper for sleeping with the chief
out for
and
you,
another person
they're
in
gonna-
our employees? Did we
Point of
give him
order.
special treatment then? Yeah, we gave him special treatment.
All right.
We did. And
Point of order,
Thank
I
Did we
think
get
we're
Ed
getting out,
Graham
we're getting
special
out of the
treatment?
scope
Yes,
of what
we
we're
did.
here for. Right. Point of order.
Anything else you'd like to say, Alderman?
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate you.
And, Alderman January and Alderman Murphy, Alderman Smith, you have something? Anybody else over here need to see? Okay,
I think.
Alderman January.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just gonna make this statement, and it's the truth. We have had former aldermen arrested by our own police department. Now, other municipalities do not let their own police department arrest an elected official. It has to go to the next level, which would be your county sheriff would need to come and put hands on any elected official, not the police department of the city where that elected official is from.
And why is that, Alderman?
That is how it is supposed to be.
Oh.
Hold on. So we've had other aldermen arrested for frivolous things and ended up with cases where they had been, have misdemeanors now and it's affect their careers. I was also almost arrested by this mayor. So I am all about that we should make it the practice that our police department does not, including yourself, Mayor, because you may be going to jail too.
Good point.
So if that happens, I would prefer for any of us sitting up here, including the clerk, the treasurer, anyone that's an elected official, to be arrested by the proper authorities, which would not be North Chicago Police Department. It would be the Lake County Sheriff Department that would have to come out and arrest. Our department arrested an alderman in front of their children. How do you think that impacted that family?
If he had a warrant.
No, he didn't have a warrant.
He had a warrant. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not talking about him.
Oh, sorry.
I'm talking about other stuff.
You had a lot of aldermen arrested, Mr. Mayor.
I'm talking about stuff that this administration has been doing for a number of years. So I am all for us looking at and making sure that if any elected official in our city is arrested for any reason, that is done in a proper and a germane way. So thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Before, for Alderman Murphy, I'm gonna have our attorney.
I want to clarify. Alderman Coleman was not, I'm clarifying something. Alderman Coleman was not arrested by the North Chicago Police Department on the alleged charges for which he is facing trial. So I'm clarifying. The charges that he's facing at trial were brought by the Lake County State's Attorney's Office, independently of the city of North Chicago.
No,
The
wasn't
Lake County
independent.
State's Attorney's
You
Office-
gave
the Lake
advice
County-
to the chief.
the Lake
No,
County-
don't let him lie.
Yeah,
The Lake
and
County-
you don't wanna be.
The Lake County State's Attorney's Office charged Alderman Coleman that state, and that is how the charges were brought. The incident that occurred most recently, Alderman Coleman did not appear at a hearing on those charges. Because he failed to appear at a hearing, the judge issued a warrant, because that's how it works now. As a result of him failing to miss the court hearing, a warrant was issued. And in the objective, nonpartisan way the police enforces the law, they notified the sheriff's office when Alderman Coleman was present, so the sheriff's office could execute the warrant. They did.
They did.
No,
Yes, they
No.
did.
no, I was detained by the police department. The police department came up and told me to come here. I'm not allowed to leave. I was detained until the Lake County sheriffs came.
And they the ones
And
who.
it was, no, they didn't call and the sheriff came and picked me up. I was detained. I was pulled out of the office by Chief Perez and I was told to come here and stay here and I couldn't leave. That's under arrest.
But the reason for the warrant is because you failed to appear for a court hearing.
And it wasn't, and that's a good point. Nothing new, no new case. It was the day before. You're absolutely right. So why can I not get professional courtesy to say, hey, go down to your lawyer's office, turn yourself in. Ain't
You have
nothing but a
warrant
missed
out
court
for you.
date.
But you have a warrant out for you.
Okay, I'm just saying warrants are coming a dime a dozen, Alderman. You better be careful. You're gonna miss traffic court. And that's what we're telling our police chief. Arrest no matter what. If it's a missed court date or whatever it is, just arrest. But we gonna let him keep his job.
You said detained.
We're gonna let him keep his job as
Alderman
immoral as
Murphy.
he wants to be. He can keep his
Alderman
job.
Murphy,
That's
get ready.
special treatment there. That's
ahead.
special treatment.
Alderman Murphy.
Since the committee of the whole is open on a completely unrelated topic, I have a question.
Yes.
I was not able to access email beyond about 4 o'clock today. Did we receive my first question is, did we receive the treasurer's report? Okay, when was it sent? Because again, after 4 o'clock, I didn't have an opportunity to review it. I didn't even know for sure if it had come or not, so.
Alderman.
So I don't have
oh,
a
you-
question, so I don't have a question on the report because I
Okay.
couldn't read the report. But it's very difficult when we get it that late on the day of a meeting to stop and really give it any kind of a review or any kind of really more than a cursory look, if I even get that far.
Mhm.
So if there's any way we can start getting it either with the packet or very soon, I know sometimes you're not gonna hold up the whole packet for one item,
Mhm.
but there has to be some time to actually review the information.
Very good.
Mr. Bear?
Alderman Allen is next.
Yes.
I just want to say one thing, Mayor. I sit up here tonight, we all talking about respect and respect and respect. Every chair should be respected up here. And I saw so much disrespect up here tonight. I'm ashamed of this. I'm ashamed of this. If you, whoever the chairman is, you should be respecting what he's talking. If you don't, just shut it down. We disrespecting one another. We're like some clowns up here. It's ridiculous. Respect. We talking about respect. We're not respecting one another up here today. And I'm not happy with this. This is unacceptable with Alderman Allen. So I'm just letting you know, we talk about respect, but we ain't giving respect. And the only way you'll get respect is when you give it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man.
I agree with him 100%. It's about respect. But I do want to say something positive though. Chief Perez and Gary Long, they were very professional as far as they didn't throw me against a car or anything like that. They talked to me reasonable. They talked to me with dignity. So they didn't do anything as far as negative towards me. I just want to put that on the floor. I want the council to know my only issue was with the lack of professionalism, not with the way that they treated me, because they treated me fine. Okay, so
Thank you. Alderman Murphy?
Yeah, so back to the treasurer's report. Vance, I think, is on Zoom. I just, again,
Vance, are you out there?
Yes, I'm here. I can barely hear. I don't know if your mic's on or not.
it is, but I can speak up if does this help any?
Yeah, this is good.
Okay, yeah, so, again, I had to just check with Lori. I wasn't sure if you were able to hear me even while you were on mute, but I just checked with Lori. I wasn't able to check email past about 4 o'clock today. And so I didn't get the treasurer. I mean, I don't know what time it was sent, but
It was sent the same day that the packet was. It was sent to the city clerk's office as was required by the investment policy.
okay, so it was in the
So it was
packet?
after the packet was sent out?
Yeah, it was sent after the packet. It was 30 minutes after the packet was sent out.
Okay, but same day, okay.
Same day, yes.
Okay, because as I mentioned to Lori, and I'll mention to you, I mean, and for all of our benefits, anything that we don't get or don't get until the day of the meeting, especially because that's certainly not something that we can skim, not that I
Yep.
skim anything that we get. I want to be able to actually read it and digest it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got to be able to get it before meeting day. Okay, that's it. I don't have any questions because I wasn't able to look at it, but thank
Okay.
you.
I'm sure that the chair will be able to add it to the next committee meeting as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hearing none other, I entertain a motion to adjourn this committee of the whole.
So moved.
Been moved by Alderman Allen, second by Alderman January. The committee of the whole stand adjourned. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I would like to open up the Public Works Committee meeting. Roll call.
Jackson.
Present.
Alderman Coleman. Alderman Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen.
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Murphy.
Present.
Alderman January.
Okay, we have two items on the agenda. The first item, the review discussion of corrective asphalt material proposal in the not to exceed amount of $29,530.62 for the application of pavement preservation materials. And the second item is the review discussion of $30,000 in additional repair work to the AbbVie raw water pumps number 3 and number 4 for a revised not to exceed amount of $283,000 for Dom Mechanical to complete the work. We have Bob here.
Thank you, Mayor, Alderman. I'll address the first one. Corrective Asphalt Materials is a company that does pavement rejuvenation and preservation. And each and every year for the last 5 years, we have put down this chemical on the road after it was paved. And we're asking to do that again this year and do all the roads that were paved in our MFT road project last year. And this product will increase the longevity of the road, increase the elasticity and the UV protection, and make the road last longer.
Alderman Murphy.
I know you've been doing this process and it goes on a newly paved road, right? This is.
Well, you can put it on older roads too, but the science has dictated to us over the years that it's best to do it within the first year. The road will absorb it better. It'll protect that road because the asphalt that we get nowadays is relatively porous. And when the water goes in it, it gets into the base, starts making the road pop. It's almost like concrete when it spalls.
Follow-up question, if I may.
Go right ahead.
So in your experience now that we've been doing this for several years, when you go to the oldest roads that were treated, are you seeing, or is there something quantifiable?
Well, I have to admit, when this product first came out, I might have referred to it as snake oil. Because I wasn't quite sure that it did what it should have done. But in the years, I've had to become a believer, and I have absolutely seen a difference. It sheds water differently. It dries quicker when it rains, which helps that road last a little longer. So I had to kind of do a turnabout and say, yes, indeed, I absolutely see a difference.
Okay, and that was really, and, you know, again, this is not a gotcha question.
No,
just
that's a good
that-
question.
And I realize it's still a relatively short period.
It is,
of
and
time.
if you would go, as I know, going out amongst the other municipalities and counties, it's almost being universally used. It's become more and more common, and part of that is because the asphalt we get nowadays isn't as good as the asphalt we used to get. So it's like we pay for the asphalt, and then we have to buy the additives to make it better.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Anyone else? Next item.
Okay, item 2. I came to you over a month ago to get the raw water pumps that we pump water to AbbVie rebuilt. We have 4 of these. 2 of them are still in operation. They need to be rebuilt too, but we have two that, you okayed to go out for repairs. Those went out and, the motors went to one state and the pumps went to another. They were looked at, the motors are now back, they were fine, but the pumps themselves were damaged much more extensively than we were aware of when we sent it out. The original quote that I got, was $248,888, and that is what you guys okayed. It was included with that quotation that they would ask that a $40,000 discretionary amount be put aside for things that might come up subsequently with these inspections. Now, as I said, the motors are now back. They're back at our facility, and they were, all the repairs that they thought they'd have to do have been done. But the motors or the pumps themselves, which are that go into the water, were damaged much more extensively than we were hoping. Some of the bearings were not only worn, but the casing that the bearing goes in was worn out, and they have to be rebuilt. It's gonna be approximately $15,000 per pump. So that's why I have put a not to exceed is 30,000. And then we will get those two back, and I will come to you again in hopes of getting the other two repaired at a later date.
Are there any questions?
Yes.
Right ahead.
Was this job bidded out originally for the pumps?
Yes.
And what did the bids come in at?
This was the low bid. We had three quotes.
What was the bid above it?
It was very close. It was about $10,000 more.
All right, so this is what we got, people. We've got an underbid, right? And then they come back with a $40,000 overrun. Y'all know what that is. I'm done.
Any other questions?
How do we,
Alderman Hill.
how was it decided to go with the lower bid? What were the factors out of the three? Just because of something is lower, don't mean it's the best. So how do we make that decision on?
Well, the company that is doing the work now, told us we should expect a 15-year to 20-year use of the pump. This pump was just rebuilt 3 years ago, and that was the other low bid. So we felt that we would be getting a company that would give us a much better return on our investment.
Okay, then, so when if I understand correctly, so now we have to pay more for the job that they didn't do well.
No, just different company.
Hmm?
The company we
No,
did
no.
not go with is the one that only lasted 3 years. They were the next highest bid.
And, okay,
We did not go with that company again.
okay. So we went down lower?
We went to the low bid. The low bid was a different company that we have done business with in the past that told us we should expect 15 to 20 years on a rebuild of that pump. And that pump was just rebuilt 3 or 4 years ago by another company.
Is there anything we can do in reference to that company not standing, I mean, was it a warranty?
No. There is no warranty that comes with this.
All right, so now.
There's an expectation, but not a warranty.
All right, so make sure I'm crystal clear. So what the company we're gonna go with now, or that we did go with, there's a problem with it. Now they need more money to fix the problem.
All three companies that we asked for a quotation from
Mhm.
told us that they should allow $30,000 to $40,000 in addition to their bid
Okay,
for unforeseen circumstances.
so everybody said the
Because
same
they're
thing.
doing it sight unseen,
Miss,
pulling this pump out from the water that's damaged by whatever it might be sucking out of the lake. And there's going to be damage that nobody can know until it's pulled apart and looked at. So all three companies told us to put in a contingency of between $30,000 and $40,000.
Okay, so we pay the extra money, then what happens now? We gotta wait another contingency upon that too?
No, this is this is the exact amount of money that this company wants to make this pump whole. And to give us an expected life expectancy of 15 to 20 years.
My question is, why did we start off with that, looking for 15 to 20 years?
Predates me, I could not tell you.
Alderman Coleman.
You said that we knew it was gonna be a $40,000 overrun?
Every company told me that it could be an overrun, correct?
Okay, well, you didn't tell us because I remember our senior Bobby Allen kept saying, listen, they ain't gonna come back to us with no more extra money, is they? Cause we ain't giving no more extra money. So if that's it, that's it. But we ain't gonna keep spending extra money. And that's what he said. So now we have another bill overrun after the bid comes in. I am not going to do that. I'm not going to vote on things that you're not going to bid out. And if you bid them out, I'm not going to vote when you come back later and say, we need $40,000. Now, if you want to say, hey, at the beginning, council is $240,000, but it's a $40,000 wiggle room, then that's something that we can decide as a council. They won the bid, but everybody's gonna need an extra 40,000. But when you present these bids to us, you present them to us as a complete package. I've never heard you one time say that it could possibly be a $40,000 bill overrun. I've never heard you say
Alderman
that.
Coleman, I hate to correct you, but I have a copy of the quote that was given to the alderman, including you.
Let me see
It
that.
says, we suggest including a $40,000 discretionary allowance along with this proposal to account for unforeseen pump or motor issues.
And that was for who? That was for this bid here? Okay, what was this for this bid here? This was for this company or for all companies? Okay. All right, so and you know what? That is my fault. I didn't read the fine print, okay? But as an alderman, you gotta understand, we gotta read this fine print because they're putting overruns now inside of the packet, okay? That was my fault. You got me on that one, okay? You put it in small print. But from here on out, we need to check our packets as far as for overruns and our finance committee. I don't do finance committee, but our finance committee, if you could please reach out to me when we have small details that, hey, you know what, this might be an extra $1 million overrun. Okay, now, another quick question. Do we have any pumps down there currently?
I'm sorry, what?
Do we have any spare pumps down there currently that we're not using?
We have 4 pumps, 2 are in operation and 2 are out. We don't have any spare pumps.
Okay, so
We
we don't,
use 2 all summer. We don't technically use all of the pumps all the time. Now, AbbVie calls us when the demand is higher, and they did call us towards the end of the summer and ask us for a 3rd pump, which we did not have because it's out for repairs.
well, I guess let me be more specific. If I took a tour of the water plant, right, would I see an extra pump just laying around not being used that might be a little rusty?
You will not find an extra pump not being used.
Okay, all right, that's it. That was a question, just putting it on
No,
record.
good question.
Okay.
Alderman January.
My only question is, I know that Abby uses raw water from us,
Correct.
but I wanted to make sure that raw water is not getting into the water that's being sent out to the citizen.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Totally segregated.
Okay.
Absolutely
So
not.
what pumps
We
are
bring
using for
raw
the-
water in,
Mhm.
we treat it. The raw water that comes in and goes out isn't mixed in with the treated water.
Okay, okay, so what pumps are used for the citizens when you send out their water?
Different pumps,
Different pumps? Where are
Correct.
those located?
different room.
A different room? Okay, all right. I'll have to take another tour. Yeah, I've done it before. It's just been a while. So, yeah, thank you so much for
You're very
answering the
welcome.
question.
Alderman Smith.
Quick question. water plant's our baby. How is the baby looking right now? Is the baby growing? Is the baby stagnated? Is the baby a dwarf? I mean, we have any problem with the pumps? I mean, the overall. I know we just got a new roof, but then should that money went to a pump, better things to make our baby feel better and do better. I just want to know what's the status, the overall status, how we looking?
Looking very good. We're keeping up with our water plant, doing the best we can to improve wherever possible. We, as you know, we came to, looking for some meters to be replaced, and those have been upgraded.
All right, I have to ask, we just had the water problem. Was that due to employees or was that due to breakdown in equipment?
The most recent water problem that we had to do a notice on, was that what you're referring to?
Yes.
There are 30 or 60 tests done throughout the year for copper and lead. And the last test that we did had to be performed at a certain location.
Right.
That location wasn't available until 2 days after the test was due. So that last test was a day late. And that's why we had to make the report. Didn't change the quality of our water, didn't change anything that we did. It was a test that was 2 days late. And then the IEPA said, because you're 2 days late, even though we explained it, you have to do a notification. So we did. And nothing to do with the quality of your water, the quality of the water treatment plant, or anything that any personnel did.
Thank you.
Now, how about this? You're done?
No, Mr. Chairman. Nope, not done. Got another question?
Wait 1 minute before you ask your next question.
Yes, sir.
Because this was just about purchasing, adding on this money. What I'm gonna suggest is, because I see there's a lot of questions about the water plant. Why don't you guys take the time out to go down to the water? Get with Bob and take a tour. Get with
Love to
Bob
have
and
you.
take a tour, because, I mean, we sitting up here.
A good
we asking
refresher.
All these questions. Have anybody been down there to, well, take it back. So, really what I suggest, for real, why don't just some of you that really want to know about the water plant, get with Bob. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to help you if you need to take a tour.
Great.
How about that? All righty, thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Well, no,
Very welcome.
I wasn't
No,
done.
no. Ask Bob after.
Mine's
Hold on, hold off and to close it up. Cause this is really, I mean, you guys sitting here asking all these questions about the water plant. Ask Bob. All of a sudden, it's just 1,000 questions on a 2-question committee. So I'm not gonna sit here with it.
We're
I'm
getting-
gonna close it down right now. I'm closing it down. Moved by Alderman Allen,
Second.
second by Alderman Cole. Thank you. Thanks. Roll call.
Thank you.
All in favor? All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, don't send me to jail there till we so fucked up.
I ain't seen you in jail. I don't think so. All y'all knew it was gonna be a damn problem today.
All y'all knew, everybody in here knew. it was gonna
Nice,
be.
that respect. There it is. See, we talk about respect. Respect, it's okay. It go both ways, okay? But things gonna happen.